Okay, we got May 8th, planning board, got a quorum. So we have, do I have to open this hearing?
Do not open it now.
Okay, so we just have to make the vote.
So the applicant has submitted a request for withdrawal without prejudice, so the board just has to take a vote to accept that withdrawal, and then I have paperwork in there for you to sign, just for file, and I can send out to abutters to let them know that that has occurred.
Okay.
So, just a simple one-page
Okay,
document.
so we originally had a request for a special permit from this company for Paragon, but now they've backed out, so we'll just make a motion to
I
accept
move
this.
that we approve the request to withdraw special permit application from Side Labs without prejudice.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Andy. Everything's good.
So why don't we review the record of vote for the existing trees? That seems like a pretty simple thing to get out of the way.
Okay.
Eric, on the, I think the plan shows 31 trees, but there was that one tree on, lot 16, which is within 20 feet. He planted it himself. And that was the one I said I really don't wanna move it.
So that's one we talked about during the site visit and the board agreed to?
You and I discussed it when we had our meeting.
Yeah, we didn't need to see it over there because there's a mulch bed.
We didn't look at it. I guess that's a question for the board then.
Which lot are we talking about?
It's on lot 16. It's within 20 feet of the pavement.
Planting two cherry trees over there.
Yeah.
We have a plan.
69, it's on the first page.
So we,
Oh, yes, okay.
he spoke to him and he said, he doesn't want any more trees in front of his yard. He already has that one tree, it's within 20 feet of the pavement. He said, if you want, you can move it, but I'd prefer not to dig up his yard. It is within 20 feet of the pavement.
So you said 16A,
Yes.
so which tree? I'm looking at 16A. Okay.
So he has a tree directly behind where that one is, right
Okay.
here. And then he's got another one that's like right here. And the driveway's like right there.
Okay,
Oh, is this
so there's, yeah, sorry, that's fine.
I don't-
Should I take my phone?
No.
So we had 3 trees though to be, I guess, planted there. So are you asking not to plant any of those 3?
I don't know.
Well, there was one, he has the trees there. I didn't personally, I did measure this one. That's within 20 feet of the pavement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he said if you have to, he doesn't want any more trees, because he has those trees there.
Yeah.
Not always his choice.
No.
If it's on the plan, it's not his choice.
Well, he has
so-
the trees, it's within 20 feet of the pavement, which I think is what we were using as a guide.
I think I took pictures in this area.
So he basically said if you have to move my existing trees, you can move them. But, what are we moving for, 5 feet, 3 feet? I mean, and it's gonna dig up the guy's yard.
these two, those were those two kind of trees at the end of the, on each side of someone's driveway?
Yeah, there's two
Okay,
cherry trees
yeah,
there.
we talked about
We're
those.
talking about
And
up
up
on this
there,
area.
yeah, I'm
There
trying to
was an
remember
old
that.
growth that was too far, and in the middle of the mulch bed, and in front of that old growth, there's a cherry tree there,
Okay.
and then here's another one planted over here somewhere.
Yeah, I
That's
just,
Someone's driving.
I just
Pretty much
missed-
over where that tree is.
Okay.
So- tell me, looking at this, am I still up?
You're too far down this.
I am too far,
Did
okay,
you like
that's what I,
over
was-
here?
that's what I
It's
thought.
before this.
Okay, so I didn't get it.
I could take a picture and come back and talk about it.
It's on it.
What?
You can come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
How far off the side of the road is it? That was.
Both of them were?
I didn't measure the other one. I did measure the,
The one
Can this
that-
wait till the next meeting?
Of course, yeah.
I measured the one further
We should just
away.
drive by on our own time or whatever and
Yeah.
check it out.
All right, so we'll move that to another meeting.
Yeah.
So the ones in question for right this way, right
This
there.
side.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty handy. Come in or?
For Century Mill,
Yeah.
I have no money for Fred Hanway, so that's something we need to talk about. I know I have not asked him to come to this meeting.
Did he review these?
We really need money before he can do anything. I'm about $3,000 in the hole at this point.
So he didn't even review these?
We had asked if we revised with the unit pricing, so we brought that for you guys tonight.
Yep.
Uh,
Alright, well, let's. Alright, so
That's the
review
street
bond for
ones.
phases 2 and 4 as well as bond for work related to the temporary. Okay. So let's go through this. So this document's from Century Mill.
We have an updated.
We have an updated one.
Unit pricing and everything else.
Because
on
Fred,
it.
Fred asked for it with unit pricing.
Okay.
It's almost the same.
Um, Is it possible for you guys to cut a check for Erica while you're here? For Fred?
Can you do any additional copies, or are you?
Is that a thing, or why not?
We get that money in the checking account to do it.
I don't have $3,000.
If I did, I wouldn't have said that.
Like, what kind of timeline we looking at?
Do probably half of it on the 15th.
Alright, so, you wanna run through this with us then?
Sure.
The last guy.
What?
That's the last guy.
Okay. So the first item is the street trees.
Uh-huh.
They're $265.31 by. There's 31, I think, shown on the plan.
Okay.
But we put down 30, because I had thought Erica had said it was one tree when we were together, and it was okay, so that's why it doesn't say 31, but, so that's $7,959. The next line item is to install them. The island plantings, materials, if you turn to the second page, footnote three.
Yep,
That's what's on the plan, but those are quotes from the materials that we
We had
have.
a revised planting schedule that we did a while back.
Yep, yep.
So
Yeah, I remember.
sent that off to site one and I sent it, you know, pricing back.
So it's the same thing with number one, it's a quote, that's what it is.
okay, yep, that's good.
Then, island planting labor, there's 2 islands, $600 a piece. The next item is the concrete monuments, and, in the column that has the heading cost per previous town bond estimate, I use the acronym, PPTBE, so that's the figure that Fred used. That's Fred's,
Okay.
Yeah, we
from
took
a previous bond.
Okay,
Same thing with the street light, it's one light, and that's what Fred had used, per light
okay,
on his bond estimate.
okay,
We haven't picked out the light, so that's why I used it.
yep,
There's a couple signs to buy to go in front of the cisterns,
yep,
$125 a piece. The next items, 8 through 16, are related to road paving. And these are figures that we have based on proposals.
so these are based on quotes you've got,
Yes.
okay,
And so it's broken out by tonnage or square yards or linear feet depending on the items.
That's what we added
Yeah.
to this, the unit pricing was added. Adjusting the manholes and catch basins, labor and materials, it's $15,000, and it's C note 19,
yep,
and that's based on an actual proposal.
Same with the granite curbing. And then the granite pieces were taken off to the quote from the last time we did it, to get accurate numbers for what we did.
I don't know if you want me to slow down, I'll slow down.
No,
I'm
okay.
on the loam, if you go to, well, unfortunately, it looks like I mixed the footnote number, but if you go to the second page, it says 24, it should be 23. And basically, we still have to finalize the exact berm that has to come out. So we figured about 34% of the berm's gonna get replaced, and that also translates to the loaming and seeding area.
I thought we were good with the berm. I thought you
We've
and
gone
Fred.
over with Fred, but I haven't calculated linear footage in 100%, but it's about 35% of that.
Okay, but you,
We
there's
have it
no
marked on-
dispute.
We have
or-
it marked on a plan what we're doing. I just-
Okay, we're not questioning it again. So
Right.
Well, anyway, we calculated, when you take out the berm, basically you're gonna lose about maybe a foot of
uh-huh,
the grass behind it. And so that's what it's calculated at. The length times a foot
yep,
times the depth. Cleaning the sediment from the wetland crossing is number 26, footnoted. And what we did was we figured it would be no more than 3 days with 3 people, 72 man hours, $20 an hour. If you recall, we had cleaned them, we had already, last fall, we had vacuumed it all. So it's not a huge job now. So that's where we got that figure. Flushing the drainage system, $9,000. The additional grass swale, that was, I left the item on the list because it was on the previous bond estimate, but it's already been completed. it's in somebody's backyard, the house is already sold, the whole yard is owned and seeded. So,
We just never came in for a reduction out of
Yeah.
that.
so I left it as an item, and then the adjusting, the water castings in the sidewalk, that's off of Fred's previous bond estimate. The fire cistern bollards,
Same thing.
bollards are there on for the cistern on road C, road B.
Uh-huh.
And then in road C, to make it look better, because it was right close to somebody's front yard, we built a stone wall, which Fred knows about, so we don't.
Fire
we
department
don't
signed
need
off on
bollards.
that, you guys signed off on it way
Yeah.
back when. so-
Yeah, I remember that.
So I don't remember who was here.
I thought we were gonna have the easement area, putting that back.
Yep,
So we did that.
I did it separately because I
That's fine.
wasn't like, it's the first time to look at it. This is a picture of the area too, by the way. Goes with that.
Oh, gotcha.
God, these glasses. There was a time I didn't need them.
If you just shot a little bit to the left, we could have answered the tree question.
I know.
I
right?
know. Did I give you one? That goes with that.
Yeah.
Fred, you don't have to get
I know exactly what it's.
Okay. So, if you look at the picture first, I think,
Yep,
closest to the bottom, you can see that that's Kai's driveway.
yep,
So, and then at the very bottom, you can see the existing sidewalk.
mhm,
Okay, so this is all gonna get top coated, right?
That's part of
Which is
it.
already included in the other bond.
Yep.
yep, yep,
So, what, the work remaining basically would be, you would saw cut out that pavement area.
uh-huh,
The areas in white that were.
That's
Yep.
in the white.
yep,
So the pavement's already gonna be there, it's already gonna be there for the sidewalk too.
and then the driveway will remain the same.
And the driveway will remain the same. So on the picture, to the left, in the middle, the work to be bonded for when Road A extended, you'd saw cut out and remove the pavement inside the white areas, which is about 900 square feet. It's not a big area. And then, the pavement, I think, is about 5 inches thick. So you would replace the pavement with loam, and seed it. And, then you'd have to put the berm in. And one street tree. So, on the spreadsheet, I put numbers next to those 4 items.
And using the same numbers per quantity that is in the other bond that we submitted tonight, so. Like the street tree is the same number we used in the bond, the loam and seed.
I used actually, for the street tree, your tire installation, it's gonna be one tree, but
Okay,
but there's no significant amount of work. It's basically remove the pavement and put loam and rake it, and seed it,
mhm,
And then add the berm.
and add the berm, because
What about the grass strip between the sidewalk and the street?
good point, I forgot that.
Oh, yeah, so this portion,
I
right?
did.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I
Seems to
forgot
be,
that.
That and
and
various,
then this,
I guess that's just,
it's 84 feet long.
it's more pavement that has just a little bit more pavement to sock on.
More,
Because the pavement will be there.
yeah, remove more pavement and
Yeah.
add more loam,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's-
add more loam.
So it's 84 feet
well,
long.
and it may be adjusting the height there, if you're building up you've got the berm now along the street, so you're gonna have that's gonna be built up a little above the pavement.
Yeah,
the
you might
existing
need,
pavement,
you
so-
might, right against that, you might need 10 inches of
Yeah, so you
How
have
long?
10 inches sloping down onto the,
You can probably
washing water
feather it.
down onto the sidewalk.
Well, this all comes down, so I think you can probably feather that back, so it's.
Yeah, but only if you raise the area that's the sidewalk, that would become a sidewalk.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
then you'd be
you
having
need
more loam over here.
I don't think you'll need more loam here, I think you just need more
No,
loam
I
here.
think, you know, I think if you look at, if you're gonna have the berm out, you know,
Along the edge.
along the edge of the road, and that sticks up, what, 4 inches or so?
Approximately.
So you're gonna be having 4 inches of loam, and then what do you do at the sidewalk? You're gonna have to raise that by
Yeah.
at least 4 inches. So you're gonna have to add the loam on the other side.
No,
No, you're gonna slope it down so the water's running into the sidewalk.
you're gonna extend the existing, the height of the sidewalk's gonna be, match the one that's there. And it's,
What he's saying is the sidewalk's higher than the road,
Yeah.
so continuing to pave the street through is not gonna. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
pretty,
Right now it comes down to the road because that's where it terminates, but
well, I know what you,
Because the sidewalk sits a few inches above the road, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Is it 4 or 6 inches above? Should it-
Yeah,
It obviously has to be matched with
Yes.
what's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
You know, it's not gonna change. It's gonna be just, it's really gonna be an extension of however it's done there. It's the same. If you remove the pavement, it's just gonna continue what's there.
So what Mark's saying
No,
is, you
it's-
might not just be able to turn the road into a sidewalk.
right.
yeah, because it's gonna be sitting down at road level, not at sidewalk.
Yeah, you're gonna have to redo the sidewalk.
I can show you.
You can't,
Yeah.
your berm is gonna go up 6 inches, your
Yeah.
sidewalk's gonna be down here.
I know, but the
So the
existing
place-
road, the existing road that's there
Yep,
is already at this height. And the sidewalk that's there works for the height. So
but you're gonna add but you haven't added the berm yet, so when you add the
No,
berm,
I understand.
you're gonna have a 4 to 6 inch reveal, so you gotta bring that sidewalk up to be flush with the top of the berm. So you're gonna have to
Yeah.
replace the sidewalk.
Oh, you'll probably just add some more pavement, I guess.
Yeah.
And some more loam, and then you're gonna have to feather it down at the
Yeah.
driveways and such, so.
Yeah. Easy enough.
Yeah, so just, I mean, just the,
Just changes the numbers that you're,
yeah.
Not
in
much.
the bond, well,
Little bit.
yeah.
Labor. Okay,
So
so,
I figured that Fred would probably look at this.
Yeah,
It's also, you're gonna be seeding more area then, because you're gonna have that
It's
grade.
4 feet by 3 feet, less the driveways, it's like 64 feet by 3. It's not a
Oh,
huge
that's
area.
up.
It's 7 cents a foot.
so can we get a,
More loam and
Revised.
more seed, yeah.
can we get a revised?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1800, yeah, seems a little,
It's just not that much. It's not a lot of work.
okay. Well, yeah, update it for that. So Erica, so, we hold like about 250,000, right? And this, that, you know, this layout of the bond is for 230.
The bond doesn't include the 1.5 mark.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
So we're kinda short, so what do we do with that?
you know.
Usually the 1.5 has to do with also has to do with the fact that when you do a bond estimate, that the work is far down, could be in the future.
Yeah.
And therefore, I know part of that purpose is probably in case costs go up. This work is imminent.
That's true.
Imminent, not eminent, imminent.
Just theoretically, what would we do in that case?
I would like to ask town council his opinion on whether or not we need that 1.5 in there. If he says we do, then that's gonna change how we handle the bond throughout the summer and how they do the work. I mean,
Right.
I would assume we wouldn't be releasing money then. But I don't know.
Why do you assume that?
Because we would wanna keep, money to cover work that hasn't been completed. with that 1.5.
till he caught up to the 1.5.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cause right now, I mean, if we have 250 and he's at 230, that's like 0.1. You have on top.
Mhm.
And then Fred, I noticed you had Andy, you had a note on the image
Yes,
that work to be bonded for when Road A extended.
yes.
Can you explain that a little bit, what your intention there is?
Well, no, I just meant that the purpose of this bond is that you're gonna hold the money so that when that road is extended, this is the work that needs to
Okay,
get done.
all right.
I didn't mean it.
Okay. It sounded like you were gonna postpone when they did the work.
No, it's to cover the work
Okay. Got it,
when the road gets.
got it.
I mean, so without, without Fred reviewing the numbers, I mean, it seems okay to me, like the layout, but I'd like Fred to verify the numbers,
The
of
fact
course.
that I owe Fred somewhere in the vicinity of $3,000, that's significant. And that's really been occurred since we started talking about partial road acceptance, having him go out, look at the curbing.
Yeah,
He went to the site visit for the existing street trees, so this is all, within the last 6
Oh,
months or so. And we really just, and I've sent numerous requests for funds, and at this point, I just don't feel comfortable, having Fred do anything more.
and we need funds, Andy.
Well,
I mean, one
Could also
option
be
is,
taken out of the bond.
I was just gonna say that, we could, if Andy agrees to it, we could transfer $5,000 from the bond, because 3,000 is just gonna get us out of the hole, it doesn't give us money for Fred to actually do anything more, so, if we could transfer 5,000 into the peer review account, then we could work that into, not
Future
releasing $5,000 down the road kind of thing.
Isn't that kinda like borrowing from ourselves? But-
It is, yeah, I agree, I'm just saying it's an option, I'm not saying it's the best option, for sure.
I mean, this work is based on proposals, and it's imminent. If you agree to this, we're gonna go put the trees in. And that's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna,
Well, we need Fred to review it.
no, right, so,
Seems like we're kind of at a catch-22.
Let's see what town council says, and, I mean, he may nix the, borrowing from, they're taking from the bond as well, so.
Very well could.
So we need, let's get his input on it, and
If that is the case, how soon can,
I could
funds,
get her half the money on the 15th.
2,500? So that still doesn't allow any new work to be done.
He's owed 3.
I haven't received the latest invoice for the site visit for the trees, but I'm guessing it's gonna be over 3.
You have any idea, Fred? What you're owed?
Oh,
He's here now.
Locked in, but what did you ask?
How much do we owe you?
It's probably getting close to 3 the last, like I said, it was close to 3 before that, if I remember correctly. It's been whatever amount of time, I haven't looked at in a long time.
A long time.
I mean, like, it's not like we're holding back lots or anything, so we're kind of at your mercy, and we want
No,
him to
I
go
mean-
do work,
I wanna go do the work too.
Yeah. Nothing's stopping you from doing the work, I guess.
Except that I need the money to pay people to do the work. And you're holding the money.
I understand, but it's like, what do you want us to do? We have
I want you,
unreviewed numbers here. I mean, it seems fine to me, but what do I know?
well, if the bill's almost 100% paid in 2 weeks, Fred can, spend an hour reviewing this. It's not that complicated.
So, What's the process,
Move
Erica? Do
forward.
we have to vote to accept these numbers, this bond? What's the process?
You could vote to accept the new bond.
I'm saying he's waiting for us, though. I mean, you're not looking for money released tonight, right?
No, I mean, I'd like to get the work started.
So what's stopping you from starting work?
This money you're holding
Yeah.
pays for the work to get done.
Okay,
But we can't
but there's
vote on
nothing
money.
done here anyway.
No, I understand, but I'm not, until you approve these line items, so that I know when I do that X, I get
Yeah.
the check
Yeah.
to pay for it, I'm not gonna, I mean, that's why I gave you the money, is so that when I do the work.
But do you realize you're giving this to us tonight, and there's, hasn't been any review of it? so
No,
we
I
couldn't
know
vote
that, I'm
tonight.
saying I assumed that you were gonna take this, give it to Fred, and if he.
And have him review it and stuff like
Correct,
that.
that's what I
Okay.
said.
We would love to do that, we just need the funds to be able to fund Fred. If that can be done, you know, within a week or so, to give him enough time to review it before the next meeting,
Yep.
that would be great.
Yes, I
Um,
will do that.
Okay. So,
Yep.
We'll ask town council.
and also if you just give us a revised one for this work, so we can review
Yep.
both at the same time. Okay.
And then Andy, you had brought up at that meeting that I
Oh,
CME
yeah,
about
there was a couple things.
the structure and how you wanted the releases done, so.
Did town council weigh in on the insurance funds? Okay.
Erica and Fred and I met,
Did we get
We need to
that?
review stuff.
Did you send it to us?
Send you one.
Town council's response?
I did not, I printed one copy, I can, let me just find it in my packet.
when Erica, we met on May 2nd last week. And the list of things we were supposed to do was get the bond estimate to include unit cost and quantities. So that's what we just went over. Town council was to review the road insurance policy versus a cash bond. I do have we had discussed at previous meetings, and that the town has wanted to hold a certain amount of money through the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't think it's a performance bond at that point, because the work's gonna all be done. It's basically a damage issue.
Okay.
So I have an insurance company that will insure the road for damage.
And town council says.
I printed it, but I'll be right back.
The work, I mean, because the work's done.
Uh-huh.
We're planning on having 100% of the work done.
So what-
Before the winter.
She had town council review that,
So-
so she's going to better.
Yeah.
At one of the meetings,
Yeah.
actually, one of the residents suggested, well, why not use an insurance policy?
Yeah. What type of insurance company do you go for that?
She has a copy of the letter from my agent. It's the same type of, it's property damage.
So they would cover up to what we would hold back?
I had mentioned to them that you were looking at around $70,000.
Right.
It's pretty hard to damage a road.
Yep.
But, so they said, so they called up the insurance company and they said, yeah, we'll insure a road, just like we insure a house or anything else. So,
Well, it's the road, the berms, or the catch basin.
The problem,
Road
which,
improvements.
the problem I could see with that though is, according to who? Is it damaged according to us or damaged according to the insurance company?
well, it's a regular insurance policy, if there's damage. They-
Right, but if, I mean, do they go by Fred's word or do they go by their own?
So, town council basically said, I'll read it, it says, the developer may substitute the cash deposit for a bond. I would always prefer the cash option to avoid dealing with an insurance company, but this is not up to the town. I would, however, make sure that we are, that we enter a new performance agreement with the developer to clarify the method of surety and the terms.
So it is
That
a,
was- that was
It's state law. You,
Oh.
somebody, when you do a performance, in the covenant between a town and the developer, it's called Form F. F is in Foxtrot. And, it's state law, because a lot of government subdivisions are state law. And so the language that the attorney is referencing, it's just state law. You don't have to put up cash. You can substitute, and it says it right in the law. So, that's how he was commenting on.
Yeah,
So
so I
he's-
think at this point, if you go that route, we would need a draft copy of the insurance policy, so that town council.
Which I'm
can
happy to
review
do
it.
as long as I know that it's okay.
He's saying it's an option, it's really at your,
So
you
that'd
know,
be for the
discretion.
70,000, Erica?
It would, for the 10%, yes.
I don't know how, the 10%'s based on what?
On the original bond amounts that were determined for the amount of work that had been done at the point where you wanted to start getting
Do you know,
building
do you
permits.
know what, do you
Yeah,
have copies of those?
I have,
I mean, it doesn't really, if we're doing the insurance route, I don't know, somebody had mentioned 70,000, so that's.
I had mentioned that,
Okay.
so I certainly have it for Old Stone. Before that, when the initial bond, that was like 2010, that was before my time. I have a spreadsheet that has that number.
Okay,
It's the same number, it's the same spreadsheet
Yeah.
that
I
I've
mean, I'm
given
not
Fred in
really-
the past.
don't quite understand the relevancy of the original bond estimate to where we are today. That doesn't make common sense to me. That's really what's intended by,
Well, because we've released for
Work
buying your
completed.
work completed,
right, so.
but the holdback is to cover any damage that occurs anywhere on
Right.
the finished property,
What
not,
would
you
the
know.
original bond estimate have to do with it? Wouldn't it be?
I mean, what does today's bond estimate have to do with it?
Well, because the work,
That's only-
because the work's done. I mean, there's only so much work left, so the only work.
Right, but what if, he's saying what if something that you didn't, not in this part, something that was previously done is
I
damaged?
know, but let's assume we hadn't come in for the original bond estimate when it was 700,000. If we had come in and had more work completed and it was 400,000, then you'd say it's.
At end of the day, if the original bond was 700, that's the number we're basing it off of. and-
I just don't see the, like,
Well-
from a common sense point of view, it seems to me that
I mean,
might have been intended to
insurance
relate to
policy
the
wise,
work.
70,000, 50,000 doesn't make that much difference.
No, it doesn't make any difference, I'm saying,
Right.
as long as we're dealing with the insurance company, it's a non-issue.
Right.
So can you get the
Your
draft
premium's your
policy
premium,
and
probably.
then we'll
Good, then,
review
yeah,
it?
good, then let's move on.
Okay.
And then did you talk about the schedule for releases? Because that's something that the board's
Oh.
gonna have to approve.
The,
is that-
yeah, the next, exactly, it's, I have a list.
Okay.
I have my notes from our meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing was, that we talked about at the meeting was streamlining the bond reduction and issuance of checks from the town. And I think this is similar to, how we streamlined the, lot releases. What we did with the lot releases is, you would vote them, and she'd hold, and Erica held them. And then, when we came in with and paid for them, you know, let's say it was 8,000 per lot. She might have been holding 10 of them, and if I wanted one, I'd give her 8, you know, the amount for one. So what I'm suggesting is, that when it comes to this work, that it's done similarly. If we agree that, for example, the street trees are, whatever it says on here, $10,000. If Erica can be holding a check, so that when Fred comes out and says the street trees are done, we can pick up the check, because I need to be able to pay people as we go. People aren't gonna come in and deliver trees and without the money.
So you're saying you don't want to do partial releases in front of the board? You're saying you just want it, is that what he wants?
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially want to have you guys vote that if Fred approves the work's done, or Erica votes, whatever that dynamic would be, that it would be approved, and so she could be holding checks
Could have a check for each line item, pretty essentially, is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah.
Potentially, maybe, yeah.
Well, some of those line items are all done in conjunction, like some of the paving, but, you know, certain things like plantings.
Right, so we'd have to be careful just to make sure that that 10%, because the road needs to go through a winter, right?
Yes,
So we wanna make sure that that 10%
well,
is
you have
enough.
the insurance policy in place
Okay,
for damage.
so the insurance policy, we would wanna make sure that that covers even the plantings, 'cause plantings are supposed to go through a couple of growing seasons actually, so.
That's, yeah.
I just don't wanna put the
Frankly.
town in a position where
No,
we're
they'll
putting
cover it,
ourselves in a,
they'll insure it. I mean, also the shemans also, if the tree dries, they replace it for free. It's just-
For how long, a year, 2 years?
I think it's a year.
Usually it's a
Yeah,
year.
it's usually a year. But if it's supposed to go through 2 growing seasons, then,
but here's the thing, the road's gonna be accepted less than 2 growing seasons if it's targeted for APM 20. Not that, I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that's an excuse, I'm just,
yeah, I mean, they're targeting acceptance a year from now, so
yeah,
that's one growing season.
yeah,
Well,
one price.
They can, I mean, they can insure it for 2 years, the trees, if need be.
Okay.
But, or I can get a guarantee, I could probably get Chemis to give me a 2-year guarantee.
I'm not really against that, payout plan, is it Fred and you guys are behind it? I mean, I'm trying to think like typically when we do partial releases, then we look at like, payment for Fred, but if he's not paying Fred, then he won't get paid anyway, so.
Yeah, like I said, my only concern is that we're holding enough back in case there are issues through the winter, that's really.
But
my
that's,
biggest
well, I
concern.
mean, are we holding
And
money
making
back or
sure
we're
that
doing the insurance?
10%. Well, it's, okay, when I say, yeah, exactly, it would be the, whatever the form of bond Andy posts,
Yeah.
but making sure that that covers that work, that potential
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
well, the
and
bond should
we
be
need
able
the
to cover-
multiplier on the bond
Yeah, and I'll
amount
ask
through.
town council about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to think of ways we can get screwed here.
I'm a,
Well, so what if Andy doesn't pay his premium or defaults somehow on the insurance loan, then that's what the surety is for, or?
They give you a policy period right on the binder. So you'll have it'll,
You don't have, well, how does it work? How do you pay him? You pay him a premium,
Yeah.
some premium or something? What if you don't pay him their premium?
it will be prepaid.
Prepaid? And that'll show up in the paperwork?
That's what you would like.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So we'll know for certain that, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get our money either way, and they said it's
I
okay.
think it really comes down to the language and policy and making sure that we're comfortable with it in town
The
council.
only exclusions they have
agrees
are
with
like
it.
earthquakes.
Big problem here in Massachusetts,
I thought you
They
said
have
flooding
them.
as well. Is flooding one of the issues?
We'll just write it up and get it in front of town council.
Yeah.
Danielle, you look hesitant.
yeah, wavering a little bit, but, I guess let's see the draft policy, let's get town council to review it, and then,
Well,
And find out about the multiplier and Fred's money and,
Are
keep
they-
town council busy for a couple hours.
Can town council or,
They're so busy right now, it's been tough to get anything out of them.
yeah,
Yeah, it's town meetings.
It's town meetings, and they have a lot of municipalities that they handle, so, I mean, I'm still waiting on the easement language for lot 61A. And in that email, he says they have one of their real estate attorneys working on it, and that's about it, so.
I don't know, I know how, I'm not saying they didn't say that, but, I'm sure they said exactly what you just said, but I mean, the easement is, I think it's a 1-page piece of paper. How long could it possibly take somebody to
I-
review it?
I don't think it's that, I think they just have so many other things that they
No,
have
no,
to
I
get
know.
done
they just haven't looked at
in
it.
front of
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
alright, so let's,
So are there things that you can do, in the meantime, in case, you know, I don't know, I mean, did the board wanna talk about schedule a little bit?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, where are we on the schedule?
Because I did print that out for you, because I would like to try
Yeah.
and stay as close to the schedule that you can write as possible.
We are going to get started, but we.
Like, for example, I think one of the items was installing the bounds.
And it's
Is that
kind of-
something that you can do now, get that done?
There's
No?
nothing I can do until I know that when the work's done, that the bond money's gonna be used, available to pay for it. That's what it's for. I'm not supposed to have to lay out the money twice. I've already put the money out. I can't, I've already got
So what is it?
a $250,000 here sitting.
So we had a
to pay for this
start
work,
date
and that's what it's for.
Order trees based on decision.
I mean, if you wanna authorize, like, one line item to say, if you get the trees done, you'll release this amount of money, I'll go get the trees done. And I could get the islands planted, I mean, these are not very complicated items. And if the work's done, I mean, enough money to, I don't know what to say, I do have to, I put the money up to pay for the work.
Have ADA compliance staked for sidewalks. That can't be done?
It's all getting done at the same time as the bounce, so it's all
Okay.
joint those.
So install stone bounds, as-built train lines and submit to him. Install missing signage, so 422. Install street lights, no, I didn't install street trees.
I mean, the tree figures, if you, I mean, you know, some of these items have already been estimated by Fred previously. It's not like you really needed to estimate, I mean, on his previous bond, he has, I think it's $230 per tree, that's what it is. And that
Yeah,
includes-
we met on site, I think a week or two after that schedule's said we
So,
would do
With-
that. so.
alright, so with understanding that we're not gonna, vote on potentially any of this tonight, because we needed to have it reviewed and everything. Knowing that, and knowing that it's gonna be pushed out potentially 2 weeks, how is that gonna affect your schedule?
There's
there's ample time to get
2.5
everything
months
done.
of fluff in that schedule,
There's what?
about 2.5 months of extra time in that schedule.
Alright, so there shouldn't be, because I don't feel comfortable approving anything until Fred reviews it.
Okay.
So,
But you
that's it.
could look
I
at a
just-
previous bond estimate from Fred.
I get that, but I don't wanna spend tonight comparing bonds and trying to figure out the numbers. I want, you know, Fred to
Yeah,
review it.
agreed.
I want to feel good about the numbers.
I don't know
want
when,
a
I don't know,
partial.
yeah, I don't know when that number's from, could
I-
be 5 years old.
Yeah, I don't wanna spend tonight doing that. I don't think that's a good use of time. What I was just concerned about is the schedule, but you're saying that there's room in the schedule, can still meet it. So I would say, let's move on with this. We're not gonna, I mean, if you feel comfortable with doing anything between now and 2 weeks, great, but if you don't, you need to wait for this to be approved.
And I
That's
just-
what it is.
If you don't mind, I just wanna add one thing too, so, that schedule and that bonding are for the construction work. There are other items that need to be done as part of partial road acceptance that were in that's sort of a comprehensive list that I had given you months ago. So there may be some things on there that you could do. Now, you couldn't do this now, but I did wanna bring it up, and it's not included in the bond. You will need to do the as-built plans and the street acceptance plan, so I just wanna make sure that you're aware of that. That's
Yep.
gonna
I am,
be some money there.
that's done after the work.
That's done after the work, but I wanted to at least keep bringing it up.
I know, I know, thank you.
Um,
Right,
and then there may be
that's part of
something-
what the extra on the bonding is for, is to
Yeah,
cover.
I mean, I'd love to be able to do something over the next couple of weeks, I mean, Fred, your old bond estimate said the trees were $230 apiece.
Have to look at that,
Oh.
that seems very, 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 very low, to call for trees. When you say, oh, the initial one?
The street trees,
Yeah,
pretty
the
cheap.
initial bond estimate?
No, it was last August, about,
It
wasn't it?
wasn't, 2015.
Anyway, I mean, I think We
I
need
don't-
to
I don't
get,
wanna
we
put him
need
on
to
the
get
spot.
Fred
Yeah,
funded so that we
yeah,
can get numbers
I-
from him and get him to agree or not agree to the numbers. And we need input from town council
Well,
on
I
some
mean,
other issues, so.
The other thing is, if he thinks this is too low and the work gets done, then it's an easy number. If the work's done, and I'm just saying, we could put in the trees over the next couple of weeks, it'd be something that gets done. I'm just trying to get the goal is to get the work.
I know, we just,
Yeah.
we needed this in time
I
to have
understand.
Fred review, so. Okay,
Um,
what's the next?
So the other question is, so what do we do about the multiplier, Erica?
I'm gonna ask town council.
Okay.
And then, so I guess, if you could just get the insurance policy to me, that's the biggest thing at this point,
Okay.
yeah.
So you have one in hand, pretty much, essentially?
The rest of the year.
No, I wanted to make sure that
I will, yeah, ask town council.
what we
Okay.
decided at the meeting was that she would.
So it sounds like town council's open to it.
Yep.
Um, What else? We have to do, streetlights, right?
Streetlights.
So there was feedback from police, DPW and fire regarding the streetlight at Spectacle Hill.
Not for my part.
This is for your project. This
Oh,
is,
we already voted on it.
no, the streetlight
Well,
at
yeah.
Spectacle Hill, the entrance.
For what?
The
No, we-
streetlight at the entrance.
So.
Oh, you mean what kind? Okay, it's one light. We already
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah, we got rid of all the ones internally.
Okay. so
There were some people on Spectacle Hill
Yeah.
Yeah.
who didn't want the light at the intersection.
So it's up to the board.
Yeah.
I know
They,
that.
they should have spoke up 10 years ago.
DPW.
They did.
Fire was saying they wanted the light,
But the
police
board
were saying
voted
no,
to keep,
so
I mean, keep it
No,
that way,
the-
but.
I guess the board was.
It's been something that, the history of it is that the people, the existing people in Spectacle Hill did not want the light.
So I think to some,
And
to
the
some,
board, we kept saying, well, that makes sense, but let's get the opinion of the police chief.
yeah,
And the police chief, naturally, he's gonna say, I like lights.
Well,
yeah. So actually, to summarize the emails, I think Chief Nelson said, he didn't really seem to care either way, right?
It's not that he didn't care, he just said that there are no laws or rules,
Yeah,
on the, he basically, yeah, on the police side to require a street light.
And he said that there's precedence in other areas where there are no.
where there are no
Basically,
streetlights.
most of town doesn't, so
That's
he said,
happening
why
in
are
the
we?
streetlights
Yeah.
all the time. That's why the neighbors don't want it.
So he didn't seem like, so he
He
was,
basically said he agrees with the abutters that no street light is necessary, that's a second.
But he also doesn't disagree that it would have improved safety.
Improve safety, right, so I think it really comes down to the board. Unfortunately, yeah.
And this is where we get to every time. I've been doing this for a while.
He does say there needs to be a stop sign at the end of Millbrook, but,
at the end of it.
Oh, and he
Yeah.
meant Mill Pond,
or Mill Pond, okay.
yeah.
They're pretty adamant about not having the street
They were
lights.
very adamant,
Anybody have anything to say on the streetlight in the audience? No?
I would prefer a street light for safety. And I'm just curious about the other streetlights. I know Andy had said that a lot of the town doesn't have streetlights, but the neighborhood actually wanted them, as long as they looked appropriate. So I'm just curious whose decision it was to do away with the streetlights at the end of Old Stone.
we had one hearing, and there were a lot of abutters that did not want them.
How was that, I think I was here, but I don't recall more than Andy saying that they didn't. I think that John was here also, it was just that we wanted the appropriate, we wanted something that looked appropriate.
No, I think I'm referring to like an
Another
older
meeting?
Yeah.
So 2 meetings
There
ago, I
was-
think it was when they were removed internally and just one kept at the entrance. At our last meeting, the abutters out on Spectacle Hill were a little bit peeved that we had left the one at the entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the town doesn't have streetlights.
But it was agreed upon in the original document, right?
Yeah,
So that has nothing to do with what the town does or doesn't
no,
have?
that's true.
Okay.
And they were
Yes. from meeting to meeting, we get different crowds in here. And one meeting is against lights, next meeting is for lights.
I'm actually surprised that the abutters aren't here tonight, because I thought we were pretty clear that
We
we
would
talked
talk
about it
about
at the next
this.
meeting,
Yeah.
and
Well,
yet
because
nobody's
they
here.
asked if we could
Bring it up again.
bring it up again
Yeah.
at this meeting.
I'm still, I know, just to revisit an idea, I'm still not opposed to uplighting. And I know snow can bury a light, but for the most part, it would be there. It would prevent, you know, the lighting problem for people that don't want something shining in their window. But we could have uplighting at the front entrance that would provide safety, and it would, I think it would appease everybody.
I mean, uplighting in general is a bad.
Yeah,
Why do you feel that way?
Like general light pollution.
that's,
I mean, it's, any of the new streetlights are gonna be very sharp cutoff. So, once you get outside of a very limited area, there should be essentially no light.
I'm not sure I understand.
Instead of the old kind of, you know, the sodium ones that, you know, kind of just spray an entire area, they're designed to be very sharp,
Cut off.
you know, so so you get a very controlled area that they're shining onto.
Okay, so what's the problem with that?
So the,
There shouldn't be any problem with it, but
Oh.
the butters are, oh my God, you know, my house is next to that, and.
Oh, I'm sorry,
lights and
that's
all
why I
that.
didn't understand. I was talking about the uplighting. Why is
Oh,
that?
well, the uplighting is, I mean, it's like any light that, you know, is shining up, it's light pollution and,
It's unnatural.
yes. Hmm?
it's unnatural.
Yeah, but,
it can just be seen more people, it's seen by more people, so,
Yeah.
you know, if there's a light concern, usually you want the cutoff ones that go straight down where it doesn't extend,
Oh, I see.
the light doesn't extend far.
So I would think lighting on the sign at the entrance, it would contain that, just in that one area. I wouldn't think that it would actually, people would be seeing it anywhere else. I mean, I've seen a lot of entrances that just have signs on
Just the
their
lit,
entrance,
the lit sign.
and I don't know that, I understand what you're saying about light pollution, but I don't know that if it's in the right spot, that would be the challenge.
So, Vince, you're the only one here from Century Mill?
No.
You're the advocates for Century Mill right now. Like, what's the general feel?
Well, I mean, again, you already said, a couple of weeks ago, we already voted on this, and it was in the original plan, so.
Voted on having it at the street,
Yeah.
but taking
At
it
the
out of the
intersection,
intersections.
Yeah,
But I'm saying, in general, Century Mill residents are happy with that?
I mean, there's, again, like Vince said, there's still a question of if it was an appropriate light, putting it at the end of the cul-de-sacs per the original plan.
Well, and that's why we asked for a cut sheet for the light fixture to review that, because originally the intent was it was supposed to be a street light, not a bollard, not a low light. You know, an actual nice street light that had the cutoffs that we wanted to review.
What-
That's where it ended 2 meetings ago until last meeting, where we had a lot of vocal opposition to that one light.
Yeah, and so, you know, to answer your question, I think, I'm very cognizant of neighbors. I mean, I want them to be happy. I will say it's a very narrow street, it's a very narrow road, and it comes up very fast. So it is, a light would be good.
So you do feel like a little bit of a safety of that it would be beneficial
I
to-
do, and that's why I'm recommending, and we'd have to get it approved, because I completely understand what you're saying, but I think if it could be appropriate, maybe it's an option, maybe it's not, I'm just proposing an idea. Because I don't want our neighbors to be, our abutting neighbors to be happy, but light, I think, would be safe. I think it would be much safer to have a light there.
I mean,
Well, no, what was I gonna say?
I was gonna originally say, can we get 2 cut sheets? One, the street light that you were originally going to be submitting to us for this anyways,
Yes.
as well as a potential, so there's a sign there now that's not lit, is that it?
Correct.
Um,
So it would just be lighting up that sign to keep it in a contained area.
I don't know if we can do that with an uplight, can we? I thought it's in our bylaws that all the lights need to be cut off.
probably.
It is.
I think that's the,
Yeah.
it's a little tough for us to,
Okay.
I think, to,
All right, well,
You might be able to look at a you know, a downlight that's just on the sign,
There you go.
yeah.
but, I don't know.
So I was gonna say, if you wanted to provide 2 different options, a typical street light or a sign.
You know what,
Or-
I wish the board would make a decision so that I can do this, I've been
Okay,
to,
give us,
I've been to
give us,
20 meetings.
give us a
What
cut
is
sheet
it
for the
that you
street light.
want? Just tell me what you want, because we would've put the light in already when we were building the road, but it's
Well, I think we're just
been,
trying to be cognizant of everyone's, who has voiced their opinion at the meeting and hearing them all.
This has been 20 years.
Right.
I mean,
Voted
it's
on.
all been
Yeah.
at least probably
Okay.
10, 15 years.
Well, right now,
Enough time.
no action is there, that we need a downlight, that's what we have, the downlight at the intersection, right?
Yeah.
That's what we've,
Yeah, we signed
Signed
the
up.
motion
That's what
was
already-
last,
That's what was already voted.
last meeting, we
Yeah.
signed that, right?
You did.
We just said we would open it up for discussion as if we wanted to pull back the motion at this meeting, we would consider it after we reached out again to fire and police.
Yeah.
So the motion
I believe the record vote was merely to eliminate the lights at the end of the cul-de-sac and at the internal.
That's what I mean,
intersection.
Right.
so,
As far as the entrance light,
it's on the plan.
it's, yeah, right
It's
now,
there,
it's on the
yes.
plan, you have not waived it,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know, it is, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the meeting started out tonight with the discussion, how do we want that light?
Well, it was
because
just-
of the neighbors.
what do you mean, I'm sorry, want what light?
Do we want the entrance light? Is that what I
Well,
thought?
because that's
Because
what
the
happened
neighbors-
because of last
The
meeting.
person's house who's right there, and
The
across the
abutters
street.
will be furious, I mean, I do know that, I do know those neighbors, and I'm not saying that's a reason to waive it, I'm just,
I think,
let's be prepared for, you know, another meeting where they come in and,
but I don't, you know, Bolton is, I mean, it's a beautiful town, and it has a certain character, which is country roads and there are no lights around it. I don't know why you were,
I think that-
my personal
yeah.
opinion is, that's what's nice about Bolton.
I understand what you're saying. I think this would be a very easy decision if all three departments had come back and said, yes, you need a streetlight.
Right.
The fact that we now have police saying no, it,
And we have
in my
DPW saying
mind, it
yes.
makes it a little more challenging now because,
They didn't back us up.
yeah.
Well, we do have fire and DPW saying they want it,
Yeah.
I mean, because it says, oops,
Don't you like the fact
I
that
think-
Bolton is sort of the way it is?
What were you gonna say?
So I
Vince?
mean, Bolton has been this way for a long time, long before I was here, and so I love, I love everything about Bolton, but I just go back to the original plans, you know, if they didn't want lights, they would have taken them out years ago when this plan was introduced. They're here for a reason, they were accepted with lights. I wanna be very cognizant of our neighbors, so I'm not saying we should
Well-
put a, let me just finish please, put a big light, so maybe there's something we can do. I would go back to maybe the original reason why there should be lights there, I don't know, now I'm assuming,
Yeah.
but I had heard safety, and if that was the reason, I would agree with that, and that's why I would say that we should
I
say
mean, like
that.
a down, you know, a full cutoff, like lantern type light, like 8 feet, I don't see how that will bother. You know,
well,
that's-
streetlights are usually at least 12 feet, but.
I mean, do we need,
But
do
it's
we need, do
similar
we
to
need it
like
to
road
be,
widths.
do we need it to be a street light though?
Road widths are
Could it be a lantern?
supposed to be
That's what I'm
wider
saying.
and
Could
they.
it be
As
the
long as it's cut off.
I'm saying like a full
Yeah.
cutoff, like 8 foot, like a lantern.
Like a lantern next to the sign?
Yeah.
DPW also requested that it be LED because we are a green community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are trying to go that direction on everything.
No, I think that's an, that's,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, Andy, you were aware of that.
What's
just needs to be an LED light,
Oh.
LED light
The,
fixture.
no, but I also look at like, you know, like the subdivision requirements call for roads to be a certain width. And my experience in Bolton is they typically get narrowed to make it more country and.
Well, it's also for sustainability.
But it's by waiver,
It is correct,
so.
that's correct, it's
so
by waiver.
It's there so that you can require it, or it's already pre-required.
Right,
A lot of times you do, for artistic reasons or stuff, you do waive stuff to make it better. And it's really a personal opinion on lighting. Me,
Well, I think it's a personal opinion to a certain point, but the safety's the key thing that
Okay.
I want.
What's the design of the current light? Is there a design for it now or not?
No, he's got to submit. So I think the board's made the decision. It sounds like you guys have made a decision. You want the light, so why doesn't Andy just provide a detail for
Yeah.
a downlit street light that's LED, and then you can review it at the next meeting?
Yeah,
I'm just hesitant to vote on anything that could potentially come back where we have to departments saying, for safety, they feel that it's
That's a good point.
necessary.
Yeah.
I don't wanna go against that.
Good point.
I don't feel comfortable doing that, so.
So let's just do that.
I understand we're gonna get
Yeah,
some
I don't think it
backlash
needs to
on
be
it.
a 20-foot high,
No,
Right.
no, 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 no.
like an 8-foot like lantern, you
Yeah.
know, just something so you can see that there's an intersection there.
But if we can
I
get a
think that's
fact
a good
sheet
compromise.
on that to review.
I think
that.
when they're thinking streetlight, they're probably thinking like,
The big highway lights?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're thinking like streetlight.
Yeah.
But we're thinking street.
Or what they added at the 495 interchange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think-
that's,
Yeah.
I think like a nice lantern, you know, just something
it's
to
gotta be
indicate.
cut off though.
Yeah, full cut off, yeah.
Okay,
All right,
That's it.
so,
yes.
It's always fun, Andy,
What?
always fun.
So I just wanna clarify one thing, so, on May 15th, it sounds like Andy's gonna release $2,500. That sounds like,
On
Is
what,
that-
say again?
on May 15th?
Yep.
Is that when the
He said he was
$2,500
gonna
is
give
coming?
2,500, yes.
It sounds like Fred's doing more than that, so I just wanna make sure that that is still, that's enough, I don't, did we
no,
all?
voted.
I was asking for the full amount. I was asking for the 5.
Okay, 'cause it sounded like he was only gonna give half, I just wanted to
That's
clarify
why I
that.
said I could do about $2,500.
Okay, that doesn't give Fred enough to be able to review this before the next meeting.
We're gonna also ask town council about transferring money from the bond to the peer review account. I'm not saying it's a good
Yeah.
idea, but we're at least gonna ask the question.
If that's
Yeah.
not, if
Yeah.
town council thinks that that's not okay.
A poor decision, then we will not do that. Unless the board doesn't even want me to, you know,
No, you can, I mean,
discuss
it's,
that option.
I mean, I gotta assume that he's at least gonna do $5,000 worth of work.
Oh my god, we're gonna need eventually more money than that. I mean, this is gonna go on for the next couple of months and
Well, what I'm
he's
saying
gonna
is,
be out there.
just to prime the pump. I'm assuming that, you know,
You've got to.
I'll give Andy some benefit of the doubt that he'll at least do $5,000 worth of the $250,000 worth of work.
Did probably about $40 million worth of work to date, so I think yes, I think it's a reasonable assumption.
I'm just saying,
And the money's there to pay for it, if we could just get the.
but I'm saying, if that's what it takes to get the ball rolling, as long as town council's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Let's see what they come back with.
Yeah.
At a minimum though, it would be great if you could at least get the 2,500 by May 15th and
So
then
it would
we're,
be 25,
Yep.
that
It
should
would
be
be
like,
less
yeah, 25.
than, so if you can do that by May 15th and then town council is maybe only approving 2,500 to be transferred, then that could potentially work for Fred to review before the next meeting, so.
Last question, I really appreciate everybody's patience here. So you said town council is extremely busy, which is understandable. Do you think they'll be able to address this month?
I will ask if they can get these items addressed for the next meeting. I'll tell them that it's going to be a more urgent matter.
Is there a
I
way that
will
we can
express
bring
that.
it to them and just have this all done at once?
What do you mean?
Get in front of the town council with all these open issues and just get it
Oh,
decided
it's just
on?
a lawyer.
It's an attorney and I essentially every time the board, and here's the thing, there's so many things that the town, it's not just planning board, ZBA right now, I have several things, you know, going before town. So there's just so many things that they're reviewing, I think it's just checking them off as they go along. But I can certainly relay to town council that this is important and we really need it for the next meeting.
Thank you.
And they usually are really pretty good if we tell them that, you know,
Okay.
we have a strict deadline for something, so.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Quite behind schedule.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, so we got, oh, now you're leaving?
Yeah.
All right.
How come you,
Hmm?
you leaving?
I'm in the butter.
Oh, sorry.
Recusing
She
myself.
said, why do you get to
Oh,
leave? Kevin?
So I recuse myself from this.
Okay.
You can sit in the audience.
Yeah, I was going to.
Okay. What's going on?
Good evening.
All right, plan board to review as-built plan, to review construction schedule for remaining areas.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Oh, you should have that from the beginning.
got the summary. So this is done by Ducharme?
So, there's a letter in there from Ducharme attached,
Yep.
which summarizes, their findings from the as-built.
So they noted the following deviations from the design plan. Let's see, so let's just go through it, I guess. Does that make sense, Erica?
Sure.
So first, driveway slope at the entrance exceeds the required 4% max grade with 40 feet of Long Hill Road. In spite of this, we note that this portion of the driveway appears to be functioning adequately such that the intent of the regulation is met. So this is, 4%. Right, so you reviewed this document as
No,
well?
I haven't, I just came today.
Okay,
So the very entrance where it meets Long Hill Road,
yep,
this is supposed to be a leveling area for
Excuse me a
cars.
second, Walt. Just to clarify, I did meet with Walter and Ducharme before this was written last week, so I do know of some of these
Oh,
already,
okay.
but I haven't fully looked at this. Go ahead, Walter, sorry.
okay.
So we met with, once we get this as-built from Ducharme and Dillis, we
Yep.
set up a meeting with Fred and Erica
Yep,
last week. Then after that meeting, Ducharme and Dillis did another site inspection with me. And based on the comments from our meeting with Fred and Erica and a subsequent meeting with Greg Roy from Ducharme and Dillis on the site,
mhm,
we came up with these list of things to
Yep,
correct.
yep.
So, the significant items here on this as-built were a couple of the attention and retention areas didn't quite have the capacity that was designed for.
yep. Could we just like,
Go,
just
on
go
by
in, just go in order, yeah.
Okay.
easy. So this first one, so, right at the entrance, so the 4% max grade within 40 feet along the road, so. So, so what was,
So can I just, the intent of this was to be coming into the driveway as level. If it's steeper than that, are there concerns with,
it probably comes in less than a 4% for like the first 25 or 30 feet, so it works, it's functioning as it was designed, but when you go in the 40 feet, it just drops off, so.
and there hasn't, and everything's functioning as it's intended? Fred, do you see any issue?
I can't talk for the first few feet, as Walter's saying, if that's level, I think it drops right away. So anyways, they're saying in the first 40 feet it goes 6%, it's supposed to be 4%, so it's 50% steeper. The thing about it, whether your road driveway comes down to Long Hill Road or comes up to Long Hill Road, it's supposed to be 4% for 40 feet. If it's coming down, which it isn't, and it's steeper, it creates more of a possibility of not being able to stop quick enough. This one's coming up, so you're already in a deceleration. You're coming up to Long Hill Road.
Okay,
So for the safety purpose, it's probably satisfactory.
right, because it's not dumping onto the road, you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the drainage is coming back down into the site, and always has. In order to fix it, you'd have to go 100 feet in at least.
yeah, if you're at 6%, you gotta go ways in.
You gotta go quite a ways in and fill it more, grade it, feather it back down into
Yeah.
probably to that first driveway, which is the existing home.
Yeah, it doesn't seem necessary. So I think we're okay with one then? Yes.
Well, let's just go through them.
All right, two. So, 2, driveway was not constructed with a crown as assigned between station 00 and 510. So that's where we saw water crossing the road.
Correct.
I'm sorry, can you show me where 5, so from 00 here to,
There's like a little triangle.
so this whole portion of the road does not have a crown?
Well, some portions of it have a crown, but it's not very evident down in here, sure.
Okay,
And there is water crossing the road down in this area here. And on my further inspection with Greg Roy from Ducharme and Dillis this week, his suggestion is he thinks a lot of this water that's crossing the road is actually coming from the property here. And he was suggesting that we construct a swale and direct this into the detention pond, and that'll alleviate a lot of that problem.
So your action items don't follow the number system here, right?
Not necessarily, no.
No,
Okay, well, so just, when we get to one of your action items for these things,
Sure.
just tell us what,
That is on our list though, right? It's,
yeah, it is.
This is,
That's number three.
number 3, yeah.
yeah, number 3, correct.
So you're saying, indicates that water is flowing on the road from left to right between stations 375 and 450, which is, where is that, between 450?
300 is right where that turnaround is.
Okay,
That's at 306.
okay,
So it's right down here, 375,
Yeah.
down to where the catch basins are.
so that's what you're saying, in conjunction with the DBs, oh,
I mean,
that's, I'm
so
not,
Ducharme and Dills is,
Yeah.
that thing says it's from 0 to here though,
yeah,
510 feet.
I think your number 3 is not talking about the crown.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I was just, so you have no action for Ducharme's number 2?
No, I think, I honestly think that this, because these recommendations, these action item recommendations actually were from a discussion with Ducharme. They note in here, which we have in our letter, that this is referring to item 2 on their exhibit A. So I'm not sure about the discrepancy between the crown design.
On number 3, they're talking about item 2, you said?
It says in conjunction with the
That's
DB's
the-
work referred in item 2.
Above.
Yeah, this is item 2 above, that's not item 2 on
Yeah,
Ducharme
right,
and Dills.
right.
That has nothing to do with,
Yeah,
so what I'm saying is I'm not seeing any action items for the crown of the road. Unless I'm missing something from the previous one.
Well, what you're saying is that, what we're saying is that there is some water that is spilling across the road here, but Greg Roy feels that a lot of that is exacerbated by this area right here, where water is flowing over the ground and onto the road, and then crossing the road from left to right.
So it's
And
coming
then
from
if
this
you-
basin, is what you're saying?
It's coming from the side of the hill here.
Yep,
And what he's saying is that if we construct a swale along here to intercept it and put it into this drainage basin here,
yep,
it'll stop all of this sheet flow from coming this way.
No, I get that and I understand that, I guess, but the whole point of a crown to begin with is to not allow any runoff onto the road at all. So that you basically would have a swale along the entire way, this way or this way, so that you don't have any run onto the road.
Yeah, well, these two, this section of the road is designed with a berm on both sides to direct everything to the two catch basins, one on each side. And then the rest of this road was super elevated to send everything.
Okay, so there is a portion of the road that's super elevated?
The other side.
It's on the other
That's
side.
beyond the catch basin.
Yeah.
If you look, maybe I can clarify something. I think the statement, Ducharme's statement is not correct.
Okay,
Okay, first of all, if you look on the plan, you will recognize it. It looks like if you start from Long Hill Road, there isn't much of a crown.
yeah.
Then as you go 150 feet in, there's a good crown. You notice that in the contours?
Yeah, right
Right.
between two, yeah, okay.
So, and then as you come down, you're, past the existing home,
Yeah, when you get to like
it's
station
not
250.
much of a crown, but not a cross slope.
Yeah,
So the beginning 100 feet, let's say, is coming straight down, then it's crowning off to
Okay,
both sides.
yeah.
Okay, follow that,
Yep.
Danielle?
Yeah.
And then they've got really no cross slope one way or the other for a while, out through the turnout, which is at station 300 or so.
Yeah, I see
And
that,
then,
okay.
then they have a cross slope coming past the turnout, crossing, as you're driving in from left to right. Now, what
After
this,
300, it looks like there's no parcel, am I?
you're correct there,
Yeah.
but physically there is. Physically, you can see it. That's where you see the water going across. You don't see it any other place.
That's true, yeah.
But down just below the turnout, that's where you physically see it. And, I don't know if you have your pictures with you, but anyways, no, it's right around, just right around the turnout and then beyond. But what Ducharme is saying is that a fair amount is coming from off the road, onto the road and then coming, onto the driveway, then coming across. So I'm not agreeing with what they're saying, so they're saying, put a swale in there and intercept the water before it gets to from the left, from the existing backyard, side yard of the existing home, before it comes on to the driveway and channel it down to the detention basin through a swale. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
That does not change the fact that water, whether it be a lot less or still a significant amount, still will go across the road, from the roadway itself, from the driveway itself. We don't know that. We don't know the quantities.
I do have the picture of exactly where it crosses, if you wanna see it. It's from previous.
It's definitely groundwater from there.
Yeah, it's also going underneath the curb, it looks like, not just over the
Yeah.
curb, seeping through.
In my opinion, there's not an answer to be made tonight on how, I think that there might be a trial and error on their part to see what they can do to reduce that or get rid of it by putting the swale, but I don't think,
So my main concern with just putting the swale and then rerouting to the detention basin, is this runoff that was already going to the basin that it's sized for? Because if you're increasing runoff to a basin that it wasn't sized for, now you're exacerbating that basin, and that basin's not gonna work.
Yeah,
it
well,
still should be going to, it
It's-
should have come
so it
over
was supposed to be
onto the gutter, gone down to
Okay.
the gutter into the catch basin.
Okay,
So yes, it's still accounted for,
okay.
but now it's
No, it's not getting to the
If it
basin,
was
it's going across
crowned-
the road.
perfectly,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be talking about this at all. It would be going
Well,
down
that,
the
I mean,
gutter
that was
and so
going to
forth.
my first
Right.
comment, but,
It's still getting to the basin though, isn't it? It's just
The
going.
wrong basin,
Wrong basin, but it's still getting to the,
detention, the catch basin.
that's what I meant,
and
I meant the
basin.
detention basin.
Yes, it's still going
Okay.
there. My question, my concern is this: if it does get slick in a warm,
Yeah.
sunny winter day, and someone's driving on it, and you can see it's like a shear of, it could be a
a
Black
nice
ice.
yeah.
and it could, and they say that happens, on a sunny day, 4 o'clock, the sun goes in, it starts to freeze, whether it's a
5
walkway,
o'clock,
whether it's a
it's-
parking lot, people leaving work, coming home, whatever it might be, it's dark out, and that's when it happens, it freezes very quickly, because the temperatures are cold enough and the sun's gone. It wasn't designed to be that way, if it is left that way, and it does create an accident, who's responsible?
Very good question.
Who's responsible for allowing it? That you can answer that question then, if it's allowed, if it's
I'm not-
allowed.
Yeah, no.
Who's
that's-
responsible if it's allowed? I'm not allowing,
Yeah, no.
so if it's allowed, that's the thing, and it might not, nothing personal, it might never be an issue, but the fact remains it couldn't possibly be.
I mean, it could technically, but the section on the other side of the bridge, the whole road is super elevated, so everything sheds across. So,
But you don't see,
You don't
you
have to
never
run on
saw that,
Right?
the way it's either not cross sloped enough so it lays there, it doesn't lay in other parts of the driveway like that. Doesn't stay there.
I have slid on it dozens of times, literally.
Okay.
Driving or walking?
Dry.
And it stays there for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
everything else is completely dry, and you always have that sheet.
Well, of course, that's winter time, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is you have the snowbank always, daytime, so to speak, or a sunny day, melting and running across, and then freezing over before it gets over there and dries.
Right, so even if they do the work they're doing, when, snow is plowed, that's not gonna be held by the swale, that's gonna be on the side of the
Right,
driveway.
right, now, if, let's say 99% of it, just for saying, is coming from the side of the road, off the side onto the road, onto the driveway. If that 99% is taken out by the swale, taken, and doesn't come onto the driveway, is the 1% or less or whatever not affecting it? Possibly. Is it 50-50? Is it 10% coming off and 90% that's already on the driveway? So we don't know that.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next note, number 3. The burst turnout begins at station 306, which exceeds the maximum 300-foot design spacing. In spite of this, the location of the turnout achieves the intent of the regulation, allowing for vehicles to pass each other in regular intervals along the common driveway. So, okay, yeah,
So we're 6 feet beyond the 300.
Yeah.
yeah, that seems
I mean,
okay.
that's-
If you wanna feel good about it, the entranceway is wide enough to have a turnout so you're already in 10 feet before.
Okay,
You wanna feel like you're not circumventing anything?
okay, 4, the berm on D basin number 1 is low in places. The top of the berm should be raised to elevation 354.
Where is D basin?
So it's this guy right here.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's this one.
The
This
first
So-
one on the left.
Oh, I see, okay, okay, so he's saying the berm, what was
At
that?
the top of the berm. So 4 and 6 actually go together,
Okay,
comment on 4 and 6, because
oh, the volume
the
in there
volume
is,
is not quite right. So
okay,
Ducharme and Dillis is going to stake it out for us so that we can excavate it to get the correct volume.
okay,
And we can use that material that we're excavating out to put on top of the berm and
Okay.
achieve our grade.
okay.
Okay, so you guys are gonna take care
So
of
we'll
that?
take care of that.
Okay.
All right. DMH,
Drain
One.
manhole,
huh?
drain manhole?
Okay, drain manhole is paved over. The structure should be raised to final finished grade so that the drain line slopes can be verified.
So that's
So-
comment 11 on our letter.
So we'll take care of that.
Okay,
We don't know when we paved it.
It's gonna be raised to final finish.
so that, but for the as-built, have you guys, so you guys haven't been able to pop the cover and get the inverts, is that why he's
The
saying?
finish
it's-
coat is over.
Okay,
The binder and the finisher over it.
so that's why the as-built can't be
Yes.
done to verify the slopes?
Correct.
Gotcha. So once that can be revealed and and brought up, you guys can shoot that and verify it?
Yes.
Is this a good time to come, or should I wait till the end for, do you want me to like, I have comments about some of these, do you want me to wait till the end, or do you want me to comment?
Ones that we already talked about?
No, just this one that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you can.
So, in his
You
letter.
just state your name.
Lawrence Lee, 147 Barnwell. In his letter, he says something like, all these things will take several weeks to complete, the manhole might take longer, and the signs might take longer, because they need to book a paving company. This was one item that he actually admitted to needing to be fixed back in November in his letter, when you denied all the other stuff. So he could have been booking this months ago, so I just wanna kind of make that clear, that this, booking it now should not be an excuse for it to go farther. This is what he admitted to in November, so.
You know, if we could, Mr. Chairman, I'd rather go through with our comments and then.
Yeah.
open it to the public.
Okay. Okay, 6, the volume in D basin number 1 is less than designed.
So that's what we were
That's-
talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, that's part of 4, yeah, so you're gonna take care of that. The berm for D basin number 3 is low in places, the berm should be raised to elevation 352.
So 7 and 9 kind of go together.
Yep,
Okay, where are 7 and 9?
they're in the next up basin,
This, oh, I see 9,
yeah.
okay.
So,
So it's the same situation, we need to get a little more
Volume
volume.
in here, and you're gonna
So
increase
they're
the
gonna
berm
stake
here?
it out, and once we excavate it, we'll reshape it with a mini excavator, and use the excess material.
Okay,
okay. And then the swales between stations 700 and 1250 at less than 1 foot deep.
That's, comment number 8.
Yep. On yours?
Yeah, see,
On mine.
8888, right, so basically it's still all along here.
Swale between sections will be regraded as required to eliminate ponding on swales.
So it's right near the high point in the road, and the watershed's both directions, so the water puddles there occasionally. And, what Duchamp Dillis is suggesting is that they stake it out, regrade it for us, and then we can make sure it's sloped so it won't puddle.
Where is it, Paula?
Pretty much where, if you, it's actually right over here, before you get to this lot, it's right in here. There's a lot of ledge that was right in here,
Okay.
and it necessitated,
Where's the high point you're talking about?
right in here somewhere.
So then it goes this way, and it goes
This
this way.
And there's a culvert underneath this driveway, go this way. So it puddles right in this area here.
How much puddling at the high point?
Because it's not pitched, steep enough, it's got a very gentle slope.
Oh, so you're saying the swale?
The
is-
swale.
Okay,
The
So-
all right,
profile of the swale.
Yeah.
okay. I
So-
couldn't get it, my head around, okay. I
So
got you.
Greg is saying that they can go out there with surveyors, shoot the grades, set
Yeah, I mean,
grades
you
for
really
us.
need, with grass, you gotta have a 1% slope, because otherwise it's just not gonna, it's gonna do exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
It's gonna,
So we're proposing to do that.
okay.
So, it's-
So, other than that, Duchamp and Dillis felt that a lot of this driveway and the swales were functioning in general accordance with accepted practices. Some of the other items that were on a list that Fred mentioned, we addressed in our letter of action items. For instance, the grass hasn't taken along the shoulders of the road. So, item one, we would put new topsoil down and seed the shoulder of the road, so that would be done. And Fred mentioned some silt in some of the riprap areas, and, you know, we're proposing to rake that silt out and correct that. There was an area, number 6, there was an area adjacent to one of the driveways that they thought we should move and reseed. Number 7, if you go past the bridge up on the right-hand side, there's an area where the road is bounded by a stone wall. And there's one section that drops down 2 to 3 feet, and they're suggesting, Duchamp Dillis was suggesting we put some room and reseed that area.
What's, when it, you say it drops down, what's the slope?
The existing wall that's there, there's an old stone wall that's there, and it's off the shoulder of the road.
Okay,
And the wall kind of acts as a retaining wall.
okay. But like the grade, I guess,
There is no grade, it's a vertical wall.
but where you're talking about loaming and seeding?
When we're talking about lumen seeding, part of the wall was disturbed, and it kind of drops off pretty steep.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is the loam and seed area greater than like a 3-to-1 slope?
Well, it won't, he will grade it to a 3-to-1.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll fill and grade.
just because if it is, then loam and seed isn't gonna do much, it's gonna just wash
No,
out.
it's
yeah.
required on the cross sections.
Okay, all right.
The
so
problem
it's-
is where the wall is, it drops vertically.
Okay. I don't think I'm, so how are you loaming and seeding it to 3-to-1?
Not where the wall is.
Okay. So
The
that's somewhere
question
else.
comes, what should be done where the wall is? Where if someone drove off the edge, then it drops.
Well, you need a guardrail or something.
Before you go further, he was filling all that. And that, I don't know if you recall, was, the material wasn't adequate and he pulled it out. So it was from, until today or last week, I should say, it was intended to be filled, that 3-to-1, even beyond the wall.
Okay, the original intention was to,
The intention for the past year. I wouldn't say the original intention is yes, because the cross-section shows the 3-to-1 minimum.
Well, it doesn't
Maximum.
where, can
really
you point
show
to
it
me
on
where
the
we are?
plan.
Not on the plan, on the cross-section.
But
Where are we?
So there's an old stone wall here,
shown on the plans or no?
Actually, it's both right along here.
Okay. Somewhere here there's a stone wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't shown to be filled in. I mean, it actually is a nice old stone wall, and it acts as a retaining wall for the shoulder, you know, off the driveway.
How far from the edge of the pavement to the stone wall is it?
I don't know, what do you think? It varies, 3 to 5 feet?
Less than
I
three,
was
no,
gonna
probably
say
2 feet
two,
in some
yeah.
You
places.
think so?
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe, I don't recall if it's closer, but
And
it's
how
not
much
3
does it
feet.
drop? How many feet?
2 feet anyways.
2 feet, a couple of feet.
So Fred, you're still suggesting that it should be filled?
Yes.
I think something needs to be.
Well,
done.
you could put, like I said, some sort of barrier up there, sure.
Right, I
Without-
wouldn't. Under the original drawings, what was suggested, or what was shown?
It doesn't show grading in that area, but the cross-section does also cover.
But it's a typical cross-section, you know.
But that's what typical cross-sections are, that the slopes are whatever they are, left and right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's typical, that's typical, that's where it has to be done typically if need be.
No.
It's not, it's typical, yes, that it's used in every project, because that's what you require. It's not typical, it's there,
Yeah.
there's no question. And he was doing it a year ago.
And why did it stop?
Well, it wasn't on the plan, and when Fred came out to do one of his inspections, he asked us if we would do it.
No, I said it had to be done.
Well,
And then it was done with stumps and rocks.
so
They started doing it, but they were putting in inadequate materials, so he pulled it out.
we were using tailings.
Tailings?
Yeah.
Okay,
And stumps.
that's not good.
So, but it was agreed upon, not agreed, it was understood it had to be done.
What's the recommended fill to go in there?
Common fill. That's put in below the gravel of roadways
Yeah,
and
yeah.
driveways and so forth.
Okay.
And then just loam and seed over it?
Correct.
That seems like the least expensive option. I mean, adding in a guardrail would probably be a lot more expensive.
Okay. So where we're at then? So it sounds like we're mostly in agreement, besides the crown.
Yeah.
Is that the only one we're not in agreement? And then this last one? Is there anything else we weren't in agreement on?
There are other items to talk about, Eric?
Okay, well, let's just with what we have here, it sounds like they have a plan to take care of most of it that we agree on, but we don't have a final, say on a crown, we have to talk about that. Is there something else? Danielle?
No, I'm just writing some notes from.
Is there anything else? Oh, so, and then, that's not on Duchamp's list though, right, Fred? Or
What is that?
This, the slope,
What
the
number you-
3-to-1 slope that we were just talking about.
No, it's not.
So on Duchamp's list, is it just the crown?
It is sort of in on their list.
What it-
Once again, if you look at the last sentence on the last page, where it says additionally,
Oh,
Says additionally, there are some outstanding items from Hamlet engineers on
so
latest
if you wanna
inspection.
say it, then yes, they have.
Yeah, okay.
It's on the other list.
Can I, here we go.
do you wanna So what items is still open, Fred?
What are you looking at, my report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, everything on the report, once it's done, it gets taken off the report.
Yeah.
So if it's on the report, it's still an item. Some of them are already been talked about.
So this was your report from December, nothing, just correct me if I'm wrong, since this report was issued,
We have,
you haven't touched anything?
not,
Oh.
we have.
No.
Okay, alright.
So, can you run through, Fred, then what we haven't covered, I guess?
Okay, the first thing on page one on the pavement, number one is all, we talked about all that, okay?
Yep.
Number two, under drainage, this is in the stormwater area one. By the way, we talked about it the other day, when I was with Walter, and I've thought about it, and so I don't agree with you, Walter, before I start talking about it again. So anyways, one of the riprap one of the flared end sections at the end has pieces of riprap on it, and in the second page, the first line item, and, to be removed.
Wait, what are you talking about, Fred? You're talking about drainage, number
No, the first line, not number two, but the first line on page two.
2? Oh, the flared end section,
Right.
okay.
So they put pieces of riprap on the flared end, so I'm just saying, sometimes it gets dumped on there when they're dumping the riprap, and I'm just saying it should be removed. Hold a second, Walter. What happened when this came up at the last meeting,
Yeah,
the abutters said the reason why it's there is because it was sticking up in the air and it was being held down. Walter confirmed that the other day by saying they don't fit right, but you have 10 other ones on the site that fit flat?
But they have stone on them as well.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. in
No, that's
driveway
the only
and
one that had stone.
And in fact, I inspected them with.
Then I'll go
great-
back out and look, but that's the
Okay.
only one I saw with stone.
'Cause if you
I've
look-
never seen them with stone on them. They do lay flat, they're made to fit, you know that.
They're ADS, it's
They're
ADS.
still made to fit.
And it's a very thin plastic that hooks onto the ADS pipe. And
But
it's,
then what should be done then, as you
Fine.
stated, is to drive a rod through it and hold it down with that and take out the stone. You mentioned that the other day.
and it functions exactly the same way. I mean, it acts as riprap to slow down the flow of water, which is either
But that
partly here
riprap
on the
is,
pipe or here. And Ducharme and Dillis didn't have any problem after inspecting it with us as well.
Alright, let's go through. Keep going.
okay, number two, the flared end section at management area, at the outlet pipe of management area one, two hasn't been installed. Number three, there was some debris, stakes, paint cans, so forth, that had to be removed. I think when I was last out there, you said nothing's been done then, so there is still some things there.
I think all that's been removed.
The fourth one was about the swale. I had basically said it's being fit in with the room he had to build it, because he built the lots first, and then more or less in the driveway, and then tried to fit the
which
swale.
swale is this? that
This is
you're-
the one we've been talking about.
So is this the number 8 that goes right along here,
I
that
don't
doesn't,
know.
is too,
Yeah, this is the
Flat?
swale along there.
okay, so that's the same issue that,
Right, so
was
they're
there.
gonna fix, he's gonna work on that
Yep,
grade wise.
Alright,
And number five, the catch basins were filled with water above the outlet pipes. Ducharme Villas confirmed that they couldn't get to the pipes, if I remember correctly, right, Walter? Not because of the manhole, they couldn't get to the inverts of the catch basins either. So, it's supposed to be cleaned out, the whole system being, I say whole, it's not a lot, it's 2 catch basins, a manhole, and pipe going to detention basin 1. Still has to be cleaned out.
Yeah, we definitely have to clean out, I mean, one's covered, so we can't see. But I thought they shot the grades in the catch basin, just
Didn't
not.
they say that they couldn't get to the,
And they
That's
were
what I
saying.
that's what they
remember,
said at the
yeah.
meeting, yeah,
Yeah.
it was there too. The next section is loam and seed, which I think we've talked about for the most part.
okay.
Okay, plantings, still, nothing was said in either Walter's letter or Ducharme's letter, but there's a lot of plantings don't meet the size specifications, the numbers of the plants aren't there. You can read through this item 2A through H, which is more detailed. But some of the trees are 6 and 7 feet high, it's supposed to be 12 feet high with 2-inch calipers. Some of them have 3/4-inch calipers. So they're small, the bushes are supposed to be 2 foot height, some of them are only 18 inches high. Behind the wall, there was supposed to be there were 10 plants, there's supposed to be, oh yeah, where can I find it? D, there's supposed to be 15 bushes behind the wall. It appears there's only 10 of them, and coincidentally, there are only 10 stacked plots that they come in.
Okay.
So I counted only 10, there were only 10 plots laying there, 10 empty plots. There's supposed to be 15. Behind detention basin 1, there's three bushes, this is H. Sorry. No, sorry, hold on a second. On F, there's supposed to be 32 bushes along basin 1. There's only 23. There were 3 bushes lying on the side of the berm still in droop balls. What Walter said is when they went, this was back in December, but when we talked last week, when they had to do their wetland replication work, they had to take out plants to drive through that berm of detention basin 1. But regardless, there aren't the right number of plants, and some plants, 3 plants are just laying there on the side of the berm, on the toe of the berm.
And I just sent Eric an email with recent pictures of a lot of the trees and plants that have since died, so.
So the planting, there's a lot there. Now, there's a letter, I forget when, from his landscaper, Walter?
Yep.
Saying all the required plants were installed. But
But based on the as-built, they're not.
forget the asphalt.
Okay.
I did this in December.
Okay, all right, so you can go
And, I have a plan here, it's marked up plan of all the different
Okay.
things I saw and so forth, and the summary is this A through H. So the plants are an issue. Going on to page 4, this is inspection items observed back in May 10th, 18. A lot of, there's number 1 is, talked about the loam already, but we also talked many times about the tire ruts, and that everybody has their own version of who's created this.
We're addressing that in our letter.
Okay. CD Volta site we talked about, number 3 is debris we talked about. 4, the EAD signs, they're gonna be taking care of those. When we were at the meeting last week, we talked about them being more of a manufactured sign, not stick-on letters and stick-on numbers.
We're addressing that too, that's in my letter.
And also the posts in concrete, some of them, at least one wasn't in concrete, some of them you could turn the post around and move all the concrete and so forth. So anyways, to the specifications, I guess is the final thing. The flared end sections, number 5 we talked about. Number 6 is the flared end about cleaning that riprap. Number 7 is the swale between lots 2 and 3 is not defined, but that was about regrading it, that he's already talked about doing that. The side slopes of the swale, number 8, this is page 5 now. Some of the side slopes of the swale appear to exceed 2 to 1 now is visually. I'm not sure what the as-built shows, I only have that small size as-built, so I haven't seen, the as-built hasn't been submitted. Or has it according with this today?
I received a PDF, but I've not received any large scale.
Okay,
I'll
so
just-
that hasn't been checked yet.
Oh, okay, and it sounds like you guys are revising it anyways because of some of the stuff that's.
Right.
They're considering it a working document
Yeah,
because of-
working
yeah.
as-built, because it's not in compliance.
Right,
Gotcha.
correct.
Number 9 is where we talked about where that wall is and the 3-to-1 slope of filling the area. Number 10, flushing out the pipe on the cul-de-sac. I think that has been done, but that was a while ago. I don't know if it has to be redone or not, but. And then number 11 is clean swale leading to sediment. That was the swale coming down to the cul-de-sac on the left side. I guess it has been working, but it also had eroded, and I'm not sure what the condition is of it now. This is going to stormwater sediment 4 Bay Basin 3, which is on the left side of the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Can I ask just a quick question? Sorry, you had noted, with regard to the loam along the edges of the common driveway needs to be repaired, tire ruts, erosion, water flow along EOP, that you were addressing that in your letter. Can you point to me which one?
Number 1.
To be honest with you, our
I
position on that,
got you, so I misread part of it.
right.
I see what you're saying,
I mean,
okay.
obviously, our position hasn't changed on that, we're just gonna do it
Yeah.
because
No,
we're
that's,
gonna be out there.
I just realized I misread part of it, so, okay.
Can I make a comment?
What's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So regarding the grass, and you're gonna read it in Fred's report, actually, most of the area on the sides of the common driveway are dirt and rock and weeds. It was just an awful job that was done, not just along, the 1-foot swath along the side of the driveway. And I think what they've written here is inadequate. I think it needs to be spelled out exactly what they need to do and exactly where they need to put it. Because what's gonna happen is it says put down soil. So what Walter's gonna do is throw soil down places right on top of the weeds, right on top of the hay and everything else, and just check it off the box, like he's been doing for the past 2 years.
And does regrading mean removing some of that rock? Cause there's only so much soil you can put on top of the fill that's been there, and, I mean, he's tried it many times before and it hasn't worked, so I agree that a better, more detailed plan of how that's gonna work this time would be helpful.
And I can show you some of the pictures here.
Yeah, we have them, I meant to print some more out, but I have others to send to.
Fred, did you want to go through the rest of your list, or
That was it.
that was
That was
it?
I think
No.
that was it.
No, we're on page 5 right now.
Oh, sorry, oh, yeah.
You did 611, 75, and
Right.
We already talked about the drain manhole.
So, okay, so, in the middle of the page there, item 1 is the drain manhole 1, we talked about that being covered and so forth.
Yeah.
One thing about that is, and Walter and I talked about it back when it was noted, it has, in my opinion, it has to be cut open and raised, of course, and then repaved, and they use an infrared type process to blend it in with the existing pavement, so you don't have a seam, or have a circular or square cutout, something along that line. That's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
Number 2, this is one of the things that we have conflicts, but I've seen pictures of equipment being unloaded from a flatbed right there. Walter claimed at one point it was the garbage truck for the actual house. But the pictures, and not mine, pictures from the butters show the equipment being offloaded. Truth is, there's not a lot you can do without tearing up small areas and repaving, or tearing up the whole thing and repaving. It technically doesn't compromise the pavement. They aren't gouges down through it or anything like that, but it's supposed to be finished pavement, finished surface, but there's always got to be what's done on finished surfaces, movement of equipment and so forth. That's what that is.
yeah,
On the last third there, which was inspections on 7/5/18. Once again, the first one's about tire ruts and so forth, which they're talking about taking care of. Number of areas in the turnaround been chewed up and scarred. and that's what I just talked about again.
Is the scarring and stuff, is it just surface scarring, or is it deep enough?
Surface,
It's just surface scarring?
unless someone says differently, I think it's surface.
Okay.
But they have their, and then on the last page, on the July 10th, 18, the side slopes that we talked about already where that wall is.
Yep.
And then number 2 is about the grass areas, like they said, mostly weeds and so forth.
Okay.
To confirm once again, so everything in here is still not,
Wasn't there
hasn't
something,
been crossed off.
wasn't there something with a pipe or something? Some angle of a pipe there or something?
Yes,
That's
I
the
think-
catch
drain.
basins,
I think, what do you think?
catch basins, you know, with water, whether or not the pipe is handled the correct way under the bridge.
Right,
You
and
thought
that,
of
that,
it a bit in
right,
verbiage.
oh, another thing, that isn't written in here that got, we wrote, I don't know who else is out with us, is it just us two, I think? When we- So, in the catch basin, and I'm sorry, I didn't have a video of it, but I don't have it with me, the water was actually coming in, you could hear it running, it was coming back into the catch basin through the pipe. You could hear it running,
So is
from,
one that was supposed to be downstream, it's coming back into it?
the catch basin, not detention basin, the regular catch
That's what I
basin, the
mean.
one on the right as you drive in.
So,
Water was coming into it, from, not from the surface, from underneath in the structure.
And that's where the water's risen to almost the top of the grate there, so something's not right with how it's built.
But it builds up in this detention area here, and the outlet is up higher, so
can you, sorry, which catch base, can you tell me where it's located, so I just can get my bearings? Okay, so, yep, so this catch basin is, discharges to here?
Yes, it goes to the manhole, and then it goes, manhole that's covered, right?
Oh, okay,
between
gotcha, goes to the manhole, and then the manhole goes into here,
Mhm.
and so there's only one outlet pipe from the catch basin.
Correct.
So ideally, there would only be water coming from the surface going into the catch
Right.
basin,
Mhm.
but you're saying there's somehow water.
Coming into the basin underneath.
but we'll know when we open up the main.
Yeah, so if you clean it, I guess we would definitely wanna see a
We don't-
picture.
Yeah, we don't know what the inlets are, if they're blocked or anything.
We have a picture of how high the water rises, I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah, it's just below the
It
grate.
was,
Yeah.
it was inches before.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just below the,
So the question is it pipe blocked, or is there a break in the structure? Yeah, that
Just
sounds
below the
pretty
grate.
cool.
See it?
All right, so, to me, it seems like one of the big open items is this crown.
Well, can I just actually ask a question? So, we have,
I'm just trying to find a way to
there's,
process all
well,
this
that's what I
data.
was gonna say, so there's 3 letters or lists, if we wanna
Yeah.
call it that.
Yep,
There's Ducharme Dillis's list,
Yep.
there's your list, and then there's Fred Hamley's list.
yep,
They are not all the same.
No.
So, how do we reconcile
yeah,
that?
I think, just for clarification, I think mine includes both of these.
Okay, so yours.
Coincidentally, it's happened before, there's a, currently, a week or so ago, or this week, but mine,
So everything in yours
I think,
has
is in this.
everything that Ducharme Dillis had as
Right.
well.
And Ducharme references his in there, so if they.
Right, the last sentence of
Yeah.
Duchamp's
I guess-
letter.
As the additional.
I guess a good question is, did Ducharme and Dillish come up with anything that we didn't know?
No,
No, because they have this, I mean, this is all that they.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah. So there was
So
nothing
then-
new?
The discrepancy is between your letter and your letter, because,
Well, no.
oh,
it-
sorry.
I don't think it means that Ducharme and Dillis is agreeing that we should do everything on Fred's list.
Right, his letter clearly just references that at the meeting, that list was discussed. They're not suggesting, Ducharme and Dillis in their letter is not suggesting everything in Fred's letter must be done to comply with the plans.
And if, for instance, the swales, is definitely that one section where they feel that we should regrade it, stop the puddling, but the rest of them are functioning properly. So they're suggesting that they restake and regrade that, we regrade that section, and that'll take care of that problem. And an inspection of the flared-in sections, for instance, and, you know, the head wall is not something that they have a problem with. And Fred has a problem with the riprap on top of the ADS flared-in section, so we're not all on the same page.
Yeah, that's where I guess I'm getting at.
Could I make one comment? So, I guess I'm happy to go through all these items, I think it's great, we have the as-built, we have confirmation from Ducharme and Dillis and many of Fred's items, but I guess my question is, it's May 8th, their deadline, latest deadline is June 1st. They've said in their letter that it'll take several weeks to do, and then some stuff will be additional, including the sign that they've known about for months, including the manhole cover they've known about and agreed to months ago. So what is this almost seems like a moot point, because they're not gonna finish it by June 1st, and then what?
Oh, I completely disagree. It's absolutely not a moot point. We're here before this board tonight because we're working towards getting it done. So yes, we set a deadline, and that deadline obviously will not be met. So yes, we need to talk about timing, but we're here before the board, telling the board what we're going to be doing. Some of that stuff can be done quickly, some of that stuff's gonna take longer. And apparently, we're not gonna probably leave here with a full agreement as to what needs to be done in any event. So, you know, I see no purpose, honestly, to holding to a June 1 deadline, except a punitive purpose. And again, that would be appropriate if we weren't here working with this board. Clearly, we are.
And we received the as-built plan on April 20th. We immediately set up a meeting with Fred and Erica, and we're here before you now, a couple of weeks later, so.
So I would love to ask through the board, why wasn't the manhole cover started a month ago? Why wasn't the signs ordered months and months ago? Why are we up to this point again, where we have a deadline coming up, and they're just getting started right before deadline, as we've seen time and time again?
In that area where it needs to be built up and reseeded, a lot of that.
Fred has said this so many times.
So it's great to come to a meeting, but the actual execution of the stuff that needs to get done has not happened, and everything continues to get pushed out, and I don't know how long we're gonna let this go on, I mean.
Respectfully, we've
This has
been
been the
very
pattern for the past
consistent,
2
we've been very
years.
consistent all
Alright,
along
just
that
one
we
at a
wanted
time.
to see our own engineers' final as-built plan. Because, you know, with respect to Fred, he doesn't work for us, he works for the town, and we have a right to see what our engineers' findings are. And we just received those findings on April 20th. There wasn't a lot of time between now and then, and we utilized all of that time very efficiently. So,
But I would just to say that that's great for 2019, but let's just talk about the last 2 years of this
All right.
process.
I don't see,
So-
Mr. Chairman, I don't see the
We're
point.
here today.
It's
Yeah.
common.
Yeah.
But the thing was passed at town meeting, we have now the power to pull the bond, I just don't understand why this continues.
Well, so,
I understand it's not the board's preference to do that, but there's only so many chances someone can get to do
so
the
your
work.
the time frame for getting this work going,
What
So-
is your schedule?
yeah, what's your schedule?
We think it's probably gonna take till the end of June anyway.
But, okay, so that's the end of June to get the stuff on
That they have
your
listed.
list. So,
So what's the remainder, I guess is the question.
The remainder, I think, is information that we have to work out with Ducharme and Dillis and Mr. Hamway. Because I don't think we agree with.
I mean, it doesn't sound like there's really any working out, I mean, it sounds like Fred thinks it is what it is. But let's talk about the crown for a minute. So, you guys are saying that you think the work with the basin, what would you say? Hold on. Number 3. you said on number 3, taking care of the side of the road. You're gonna catch it in a swale instead of take care of the crown.
It appears that a lot of that's going across that road, even in these photos,
Yeah,
is sheet flow coming off the property here.
yeah.
You can see it right here, and then crossing. And Greg thinks that if we put a swale behind there, behind his telephone pole, and direct it into the detention area, we can intercept all of that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like a patch for what the real problem is, right?
Well, again, on the other sections of the driveway, it's super elevated road, so the water is designed to go across the road.
But you don't have the run-on in that area. So I think what the concern with the roadway design, or the way the road is working here, is you have a super elevation condition and you have run-on from this area that you're talking about, offset, that's all coming down onto the road. In the area where it, is further down, where it was designed to be super elevated, you don't have that run-on condition. At least I could be reading the plan on it, but that's the way it appears.
Well,
So
You're
you
right.
wouldn't have, I mean, that's, I mean, part of the way you allow that super elevation condition is because you, I mean, for grading and impacts, but you don't have a lot of run-on. I mean, when you have that condition, you don't want that super elevation, so.
I think if you go past the high point of the road and go on the other side, you have a slope that's similar. And again, the road's super elevated, so it's going across the road. And I think it doesn't have a crown in the road, it should have had a crown in the road, but for the distance that it is, a couple of 100 feet, I just think the effect is not that significant. I think that the sheet flow coming from the budding property is what's causing the problem.
Well, that's our property, do not feel comfortable with them trying a swale, digging up our lawn to try a fix that hasn't been approved by everyone, and I just don't feel comfortable with that at all.
And I feel like the road should be built as how it's designed. I mean, I feel like the crown needs to be there.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, does that
Tear
mean
the whole
digging
road
up the road? I don't like that idea.
Cut back the finished code and
Yeah,
relay it with
grind,
the crown.
yeah, grind the first 300 feet or whatever.
What's your opinion, Fred? On the crown?
If it can be controlled that there's not anything coming across the road that's creating a hazard by building the swale and so forth, you know, for excluding where it is, and it can, that's the easiest way.
Right.
Then I would,
Right.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
But if it's still, we won't know that until there's sufficient rainstorms to make sure that that's working.
I mean, I would guess if you, as long as you did the swale long enough and, you know, and it was appropriately deep enough and it got to the portion, you're probably gonna solve the majority of that. I guess what I would like to do is see a plan from Ducharme and Dillis to show the limits of that swale so that the abutters can see how that would, affect their property, because now the swale is being dug in their property. But I'd also just like them to look at it with, I mean, they're gonna show the sides, you know, however deep it needs to be, with the limit of disturbance and the grading. I think it would be a good idea to see that on the plan, so we can understand. I'd like to know how long Greg was thinking this needed to go to really solve this, issue.
We can have another meeting with Greg and Fred and myself, because we met first,
Yeah.
and then Greg and I did another site inspection after
Okay.
we met with Fred and Erica, and see if we can resolve some of these other issues.
That would be great if you guys can meet and go through, and we could get as close as we can to getting these together.
And we can start scheduling the work so that we can try to get everything done in the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks.
I think the planting should be discussed in some definitive way.
Well, the plantings, again, like Greg said, are not in the planning board regs. Those plantings are there for the Conservation Commission, for the work that we did in the wetlands and the aura. And we have a $30,000 bond posted with them, and we have to have the plants grow in the wetlands replication area for 2 years.
It's not just in the wetlands, though, it's all on the side of the
Well,
road.
it's only in the wetlands replication area, in the wetlands area. They were put there as part of the order conditions to work in that buffer zone. Your regulations don't call for the plantings on common driveways, so it's not something that was shown on the plan, really for the planning board, was because that plan was submitted to Conservation Commission as well.
Is that true?
The plantings are on the approved plans.
On the planning board.
On the planning board approved plans, and in addition to that, we were holding bond for the plantings.
Okay, so then,
Well, again, the plantings are on the plan, because that was the plan that we also used for the conservation, so that we submitted a plan that was approved by the planning board to go to the conservation.
I mean, Walter, what I can do is see if there's any, there shouldn't be any overlap between our bond and conservation. I can review that with Rebecca and see if there is, and if there is overlap with the plantings, then planning board could certainly take that off their list and have it merely be with conservation. But I would say if it isn't, those plantings need to show up somewhere, and if
Yeah.
it's with planning board, then it will be with planning board.
I think that would be fine.
I'm happy to do that,
But forget, you're talking about bond wise.
bond wise.
Right, so forget the bond for the moment.
Yeah.
What should be planted?
Whatever it says on the
whatever says on the
plan.
plan,
Okay,
Yeah.
so it hasn't been.
okay, so it needs to be.
Okay.
Needs to be.
I'm
Yeah.
not even talking, I'm not talking about the money held.
I mean, we're not
I'm talking
here to-
about it's not done.
We're not here to waive anything, so if we don't have what's on the plan, then we want what's on the plan.
So by what date, though, I guess, is, like, I just don't understand how much longer this is gonna go. We talked about, at the last meeting, they sat here and said, we agree the manhole needs to be done, nothing else. Now they've upped it, so they agree some other stuff, but they still don't agree to everything. So we're gonna give these people that don't agree to everything that needs to be done an extension to not do everything, just do the things they agreed to, and then we're back to square one and no time to hire someone else to do it before the next winter.
Well, I don't know if even if we were to go, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, even if we were to pull the bond, the way the town works and all that stuff, you wouldn't be doing it this year
Well,
anyways.
that's
Well,
not
no,
what was
we
told
just
to
passed
us
it
last
around,
time.
Oh,
We passed the
June
bylaw
first
now.
was the last deadline they were given, and it was, by then, the article would have passed at town meeting, which it did.
She did.
And then you could pull the bond and have someone else do this in the fall and be done with this.
Right, and know what's gonna happen.
Right,
And I think
right.
that's really been the biggest
I mean, and the deadline, I think, was reluctantly given. I mean, I think we were talking about pulling the bond months ago.
But it couldn't because of the
Because of
article
our
at town
town.
meeting. Now that's been done, I'd really like to hear from the board why that just won't be done now.
30,000 or something.
They're still not agreeing to it, so it's not that we're at a point where they're agreeing and they're gonna do it. They still don't agree with everything.
Listen, again, my position is, you know, pulling the bond at this point when we're here working with this board would be, in my opinion, punitive. I understand that, that's what the abutters said, but they've been beating that drum for a while. And that's fine. I'm taking this very seriously, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
all
that.
right, I mean, that's not necessarily who I said that.
So Aaron.
I can't, you know what, Mr. Chairman, this is an absolutely inappropriate tenor of a meeting.
Yeah, no, that was unnecessary.
I think we can at this point stipulate that nothing we're going to do, if we agree to everything on Mr. Hamway's list, is going to make the abutters happy. We're past the point of reasonableness when you're getting comments like that at a public hearing.
Mhm.
I will not have my character impugned by someone in this audience. And I would expect the same courtesy from this board, the abutters. I've not ever taken a personal attack at these neighbors.
accept the letter you sent me, that was pretty personal.
Absolutely not. That letter was not
Nobody
personal,
can-
Mrs.
Nobody
Seeley.
should speak until we call
And,
upon it.
and if you would like to talk about it some other time, we absolutely can. I let that issue die.
All right, hold on.
We would love to.
All right, let's pause for a minute. Just everybody stop talking. Okay, moving forward. So when was work gonna start on what you plan to do? So Fred, do you think, you think on that approach for the crown, the swale, we need to do that and then review it?
I would think so, we gotta make sure it works.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an issue, we have to make sure it doesn't stay that as an issue.
So Ducharme and Dillis is scheduling crews to go out there and stake out the detention areas in the swale that we
Uh-huh.
talked to.
Yep,
So they have to go out there and do that work first.
yep,
We can have them prepare a design for that swale that we're talking about as well,
yep,
and stake that out. We can submit that to Eric and Fred ahead of time.
uh-huh,
When they complete all of that work, we'll try lining up a landscape company to go out there, do everything that they have to do at once. So most of this work will be done by a landscape crew because it's small machine work and handwork.
mhm.
So our next, I'm sorry, we are May 8th right now? Yes, so our next meeting is May 22nd. You know, is it possible to get by our next meeting a detailed schedule of how you are planning to address these items, as well as between now and May 22nd, have a meeting between Fred, you, and Ducharme and Dillis to get closer on these items, so that, I mean, I guess what we'd like to see is a schedule for, you know, how all of the items would get addressed for this. You know, I know you need to go over in June, but before we, I guess, grant that extension, just to
Right.
kind of get an understanding of what
Yeah,
your
let's get a
schedule is.
schedule. Yeah,
I
that's a good
think
idea.
we can do that. I can't speak for Ducharme and Dillis, but
Okay.
I don't think it'll be a problem.
Because, I mean, I guess what,
That's what we got from Century Mills, we got a very detailed schedule, step by step, start date, finish date.
but I would like to ask that take a serious look on, in Fred's letter and what he's listing, to include those items as well.
Yeah.
And just how you, so that way we can, and, you know, all the stuff that you've already talked about, so that way we can get an overall picture of the intent for that.
We can do that.
Okay.
I would also like in that, so, don't just, whatever's on Fred, I want on that list. If you don't feel like you're gonna address it, then, I don't know, put a line, I wanna see it all on the same list though. Do you agree? I mean, I don't want.
That's fine.
I just don't want you to like pick and choose Fred's list, I want everything on Fred's list. Put the date of what you're gonna do, start and finish, and I wanna see what what you don't think needs. Cause I need to see it in front of me, what you guys aren't gonna do, versus just words. I want that's what I think, for May 22nd, everything on Fred's list, start, finish time. So we'll see when you
Or
feel like.
some
it's-
justification.
Fred, can we get your list in a Word doc?
It is in Word doc.
I don't have it, I only have
No,
a
what he
PDF.
gets me is a Word doc.
I'm sorry?
What Walter gets is a Word doc. Everybody
So
gets a
if
Word doc.
Could
I can
you
send it
resend
again,
it,
but
please,
yep.
because I don't think I have it.
Yep, it's fine.
So, okay, so we'll have everything on Fred's list, we'll have the start and end date, and then we'll see, listed out, what you guys feel don't need to be done, I guess. Just cause it's still hard for me to wrap my head around the discrepancies, that's what I was trying to get at, is the discrepancies of what's not agreed upon. So let's get that out, let's have it in front of us, start and dates, what you guys don't agree with. Let's meet again on the 22nd.
And if you can have Greg also look at that option to potentially bring to us on the 22nd. I don't know if it's feasible for him to do that, but just to get an idea of, you know, if that's what you'd like to do is to do the swale, is could we get a sketch that shows the limit of work that would include along here? So we have an idea just of.
Okay.
I think this stuff is all pretty straightforward, but.
So that way, so before we granted, if we granted this an extension past June 1st, we'll have a clear date in mind. Like actual written out line item,
Yep, I think that's kind
which
of.
we've never really had on this.
No,
I mean,
and
we've
it's
talked-
very
we've
similar
had-
to what we just asked for Century Mill.
Exactly. So we'll know if we're on or off schedule.
Walter, do you anticipate doing some of the construction between now and May 22nd? Because I would think that the board would like to see some good faith that he is going out there, that he is making some improvement, because the initial deadline was June 1st, so I would like to see some,
Well,
you know,
we'll
construction
order the
from that.
signs, but we need Duchamp and Dillis to stake out the detention
so you'll
areas,
have the
the
stakes in.
swale.
But you'll definitely have the stakes in by then, and then any work beyond that, you think,
We'll,
that you could commit to, that would show some good faith that you're actually gonna do the work beyond? I think the schedule's really important, but I would like to see something get done,
almost all of this work is gonna be done with a small mini excavator
yeah,
and a landscape company, honestly.
yeah.
Even the boom and seeding side of the road,
No,
shaping
I
that
get
detention
that,
area.
yeah, I get that.
So they're gonna be there with a crew, and they'll probably finish it all in 2 days. And so, we just have to make sure everything's lined up and we agree on the
Okay.
scope of work so that they only go out there once and do it.
So what about at least ordering the signs then?
I'll order the sign,
Okay, can you show proof that you've ordered the signs?
yes.
Okay,
And if there's some other stuff on this list that I can do, we'll do that.
wonderful.
And the manhole cover has to wait for,
No,
You
so
can do that?
we can cut that up. We have to schedule a paving guy once we resolve these other issues, but we'll work on that. That'd be a separate company.
My suggestion on that, just in the worst case that other repaving has to be done, that the swale isn't gonna be acceptable, not work, whatever the reason, you might wanna do that all in one.
Let's see.
It's hard to say, you can do it however you want, but
Well,
let's say,
I'll
worst
try
case,
that.
the guy
Maybe
had to
it's
dig that
different.
out.
Yeah.
It's gonna go almost down to the manhole, so you do it all in the same repair. But that's strictly up to everyone else.
Could the board just please address like what's happening at the next meeting? Like last time you said the deadline was June 1st, so at the next meeting you're deciding whether to extend it, or is taking the
think-
bond
I
even
think-
an option? I mean, I don't hear you
I-
talking about that
I
at all.
think when we said that we thought that the as-built would be a lot sooner than April 20th. I mean, I think we were thinking there'd be a few,
They could have had it done in the fall, I mean, they could have had it done last summer, I mean,
Yeah, what's the problem with pulling the bond? I mean, just for discussion purposes, I understand the punitive comment. From the town perspective.
I think
well,
Are we worried that there's not enough money
well,
in it to
yeah,
finish the
that's
work?
what I'm worried about. I mean, so Fred did give us a kind of very rough estimate, I think, before the as-built, right? Didn't you give us a rough estimate? Oh, no, maybe it was just an off the top of your head.
No, I don't think so.
I think I have that, it was a list of
But
the
it's a
bond
formal
items
one.
and what it was.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it was formal or not.
For the 29,000 or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's a form, that's a
Yeah,
form, right.
So is there anything that came up in the as-built or anything since, is there anything that came up in the as-built or anything since then would think that that number isn't accurate anymore?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there anything that has come up in the as-built or anything that's come up since then that would change that number of yours?
I don't believe so, the biggest thing would be the top course, but we held back 25% on that. So I think that can be done as $3,200. The plantings are there.
So all the gaps in the plantings that you,
The swale is there. The fill on the right side of the road is in here.
so what about the swale work? So the
That's-
crown doesn't come into play, that's in there?
Oh, no, that just came up.
So would
That came up today,
would that need to be added?
yes.
What about
Either or.
the basins though? Are they in there?
We had flushing,
No, the
Building up
basins
the
are too
basins.
small.
Yeah, the
so
digging
they-
out
oh,
of the
no,
basins
no,
and
the
putting them up to elevation.
embankments, no, that wasn't in there, I'm sorry. No, we wouldn't know that until the as-built. and it's there now.
Well, so that's what I'm asking, so
Okay,
can you also for May 22nd, update that estimate
mhm.
to see if we're still at our number? I mean, if it, so that's, I mean, that's the problem with, pulling the bond is we wanna make sure we have the right amount of money and then, cause if we do pull it, then what? Comes out of us, right?
To get the work done?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, whatever, if there's, if we miscalculate by 20,000 or something, then it's coming out of us.
Well, no, I think the
It-
work just
it
doesn't
wouldn't-
get done.
Yeah, it wouldn't come out of
Huh?
town,
No,
right?
the town
Yeah.
doesn't cover all of the work, it just wouldn't get done. We would use the amount that we have for bond.
Oh, I'm thinking like
and
it was a
yeah.
public road, it's not a
No,
public
no,
road,
no,
yeah.
no,
It's
it's,
a
we would
common
just
road.
have
Right.
those funds to get done whatever a contractor could get done.
And then the residents would be,
Yeah, so that's a question for the residents, if we pull the bond and there's not enough money to finish the work, are you gonna be back here yelling at us?
Well,
Now, I understand
Yeah.
maybe the bond was
For-
reduced in the past
I- honestly-
unnecessarily, but
yeah, honestly, I feel like you gave back way too much in the bond. We were here to fight that and you still did it. So yes, I would be mad, but I would rather pick and choose what we have left to have another contractor do by somebody else and get what can be done and then leave it. We don't want this to keep going. We
Right.
want it done.
I make a motion that we pull the bond.
I suggest before we do that, we, discuss the town council. Maybe Eric, you and I could have a conference call with town council about that.
what do we have to discuss?
I just think it would be prudent for us to seek legal counsel before we've never done that before, so.
I mean, I thought we had everything in place for it, but
That's how, that's what the town meeting.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I
no,
would like to see what Fred has to come up with, because if the crowning of the road, that's a definite, you said you slipped on that at least half a dozen times, if we can't get that fixed, and you're now dealing with that for the rest of your entire, whatever, how long it's gonna be there for, I think we need to look at this just a little bit more deeper and get exactly what we need to pull. I'm almost in favor of pulling the bond as well. 'Cause I understand where you guys are coming from, but if it can get done, and if it's till the end of June, I just think we should look at this just a little bit more. And have it for May 22nd, let them come up with the schedule, and maybe we can see some common ground here. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That sounds much more reasonable.
Well, so I think that's, good.
We should go back on the bond for a second. The bond, even though there's some additional items that we're talking about here, still should be prepared by Ducharme Dillis and then reviewed by me. That's how it's always done. That's how the original bond was done. This is additional work items that they should come up with the construction estimates for it and then reviewed by me. That's what we do in all the
Can
other
you guys
projects.
get
It's all,
Ducharme?
and what's that?
I was
Oh.
just saying, can you guys get Ducharme to, come up with a bond for the additional work?
That's how it's done in all towns, in all projects. And that's how it was originally done here, and then I checked their bond.
I mean, the board's been relying on Fred's numbers all along.
No, you
During this
came up with
process.
it, and then someone has to come up with it first, is what
And
I'm getting at.
I guess what I'm reading from this board is that our bond's going to be pulled.
Not
So
necessarily.
you're asking us to pay an engineer to come up with new numbers for this board to pull this bond on May 22nd.
I'm also one of the newest members on this board, and from what I understand, this has been going on for a lot longer than it should have. And I can understand the frustrations with the residents, and I can, again, we're just trying to get it done as well and work with you. It's just,
Fred, I'm comfortable with your numbers.
Yeah.
I know you don't want, I would like to see, just, this is kind of for our, I guess it's coming from our end, so I'd be comfortable with your numbers. So I think, let's get the start, let's get the timeline. Let's get your estimate. Let's talk to town council, and we'll have to make a decision on the 22nd. Does that sound reasonable for everyone? I mean, so we're not asking, for some engineering costs, we want a timeline. Want the bond estimate, town council, and then we'll decide what we're gonna do on the 22nd.
We are ordering signs, we've committed to ordering signs, we've committed to getting Ducharme Dillis out there doing stakes. I want a clearer picture, I think we deserve a clearer picture from this board as to where this all is headed. Because there's items on here for signage. I don't feel like
Well, if
having
you have
my
this-
client order signs to find out on the 22nd that it's the will of the board, regardless of the good faith efforts that we've made to pull the bond. Because there's $5,000 on here for an as-built plan, for example. We pretty much completed the as-built plan and paid Ducharme and Dillis for that. So I guess I'm
What's the lead
getting
time-
a mixed,
What's the lead time on signs?
Probably a week or two.
Okay, so if it all goes, if we decide on what we get with the information at hand, it's gonna be, if we can extend it a couple of 3 weeks into June, and everyone is in agreement with it, it'll still get done. I just want more information before I make my final.
so to be clear though, the board no longer expects us to order the signs before the 22nd.
We can order the signs. We'll be here the 22nd on the schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Do you have anything after this? Can I go over to things with this quickly?
So is there money for Fred to do that estimate, or?
I have to check.
Yeah.
And that's the speaking of it.
Can I ask one final question?
Yeah.
It might be very small detail, but on the as-built, they're listed as Applewood Construction, and on all the stuff they're sending is Best Built Construction. Is that some kind of I don't understand why they're using two different company names and why, it seems like that just doesn't seem to match up. That's one thing, and on the as-built, it still lists the Henrys as the owners, they're no longer the Henrys, so I don't know if that needs to be corrected, but.
That might be a question for Ducharme and Dillis, because they prepared the plans.
Okay, but see how on the plans it's Applewood, but all this stuff they're doing is now is Best Built?
The letters they responded to as best built.
Yeah, that's probably from the original.
I was just saying, that's,
Applewood
they
is
might
there.
have,
The Apple
That's-
Valley.
Well, the
Yeah,
last-
Apple's there. It's
The
still-
whole time though, our houses, some of the stuff says Best,
Oh, sorry.
some of the stuff says Applewood.
But the last common driveway they did was Applewood, right?
Walter, both of those companies are Walters, I don't really know why.
I would know, Ducharme and Dillis would know, because they
Yeah.
prepared the plans and they put the information on the plans.
Just wanted to
One
make
other
sure.
question, if, the bond does get pulled, could we choose not to replace some of the plants along the driveway to save money? And
Really?
work on other options that are,
Yeah, I
Just
think we'd have to
try.
review that when we get to that, if we were to get to that point, we'd have to well, I think we'll know that answer better once we know the updated bond,
Yeah.
estimate.
yeah, just if we had to
So-
do the most important
Of
work
course,
first.
priority items, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have some say on
That's
what gets done if the bond gets pulled, right? Essentially,
Um,
or it'll be a
Matters
discussion
who-
point.
matters
at
who the
least.
bond
discussion
goes to.
point, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Matters who it goes to.
Yeah, I mean, do we
Yeah.
manage it, or do they manage it? Who manages the
I
the
believe
work?
it's the town manages it, and then I think we'd have to follow standard procurement requirements and go with lowest bid and all of that. That, well, if it's less than 50, so no, it's not an RFP, it's just a matter of getting 3 quotes, but,
Yeah,
I assume we'd have to follow those standards.
yeah.
So, we would work with Fred maybe to get the most important items done,
I don't know.
Yeah, again, I think we need to see that bond estimate, cause if it
Hasn't
covers
happened
everything,
before.
then.
This is new to the
it would-
board, so we're not sure.
Yeah.
It's all new. All new.
Yeah.
All new.
Can I just say something in a very transparent way?
What's your name?
Sanjay Sharma. What lot are we?
149 now.
I have to ask. No, lot 2, lot 3.
Lot
You
two,
know,
yeah.
So I have nothing negative to say. I appreciate that his son, who's an attorney, came and said, we came in good faith estimate, I will not have my name. We've been coming in good faith for 2 years, and we didn't even talk about the personal things, for example, glass in our soil and so on. I know that you guys want this done, we want it done, and they want it done. I appreciate that he made a comment making it personal. No, we're just trying to get to an end game where we're not left with a calamity, which is what it looks like. And he has a historical track record, so you can't ignore that on the assumption of what is a good faith estimate. That's based on historical precedent.
Yeah.
So I know we'll get there at some point. We have no anger towards anybody here. We're frustrated. I know it's 10:30 and everybody needs to get home, so we appreciate that.
Yes, thank
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get the number from Fred, we'll
Yep.
get his schedule, and then we'll make a decision. I mean, my big concern is that there's some huge gap. That's why the whole time through, I'm trying to figure out the delta between what they're saying they're gonna do and what needs to be
Not
done.
only that, just seeing the additional stuff that the as-built
Yeah.
called out
Right,
makes me a little more concerned as well.
Yeah, I have no doubt that there's more work that needs to be done than 29,000, but I have more worry that they're gonna go try and do some of it and mess more up and leave us with more of a mess. That's why I'd rather have the 29,000, get some of it done, and be done with it.
so like, I mean, I know, I feel the frustration coming off you and towards me, but I'm just.
It's not
and
you
well,
personally.
no, I know it's like, we keep on pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, but it's just like, if we could eke any work out of them that,
It's been so long.
but like, I mean, then I agree, and just
They
nothing's
do
happening.
it, they don't do
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah,
And they also
We've
don't do it right.
experienced it for
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
single one of our houses.
You know, the other thing
I
is if
just-
the cost exceeds the bond, they may just say, well, fine.
Well,
So it's basically almost positioned strategically
yeah.
towards them to decide or
Well,
not.
the good news is, we would never, if you're saying it's never done right, we're not gonna accept it, that part of the bond won't be released. But it's like a time thing, it just keeps,
Right.
I understand, and that's the most frustrating thing, but we're just very hesitant we don't want to lose the money, yeah.
If the money wasn't adequate, wouldn't he just walk away?
What's that? I'm sorry.
If the money wasn't adequate,
Yeah.
wouldn't he just walk away?
Yeah, I don't know why he's still here,
Because I think
honestly.
it doesn't look good if your bond is pulled.
Probably.
It's gonna cost them twice
He's
as
just-
much to do it.
Yeah, I'm saying, if it costs him
It's
50
gotta be
grand, why
shared.
wouldn't he just walk away
Just
now and
say,
save
get out of
himself
it
20
at
grand?
30,000,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is a better business
But I
bureau.
also think his
Yeah.
expectation is that list will get reduced.
Yeah, that's what's, like, he keeps upping a teeny bit what he will agree to do, but
Yeah,
he's
Right.
still not in agreement, so.
If you look at some of the letters from Kevin before, no, no,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, my whole list.
yeah, no, I remember.
Not only did he say no, he said it's all done.
Right.
That's what he actually said.
Except the
I remember
manhole.
that.
And, right,
Years
so now he's going back and agreeing with some, but the other ones, everything was done satisfactorily.
Right, if he came in and agreed with everything, I'd be a lot more willing to have him do the work.
Well, so that's why I asked so I didn't wanna play any games, I said, take every one of Fred's items, do the start and end date, and I wanna know which ones, I don't like all this
Right.
verbal of, I'm not doing, like, I can't get a handle of,
You're right, you're
Exactly.
right, the three different
That's
yeah.
their game
papers
thing.
there,
Yeah.
nothing corresponds to each
so
other.
that's why I said, even on ones that you aren't gonna do, I want them on the list, so I can know what you're saying you're not gonna do, so we can have it in front of us, black and white, we'll have your number.
I think it would also just be good to ask town, so my main concern is if the bond is pulled and there's a list of items that need to get done, how is the bid sent out with regard to that? Like, I know you guys wanna have some say with regard to priority, how is that done?
Well, that's part of the reason why I wanna talk to town council, because
Yeah.
I wanna understand the town's liability in this, if we're not, cause technically we are supposed to be holding sufficient bonds, if we are not, where does that put us? Like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna put us in a position where we could technically get sued.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's prudent to talk to town council, and, I think it's also important to understand that even if we hire another contractor to do this, and I don't wanna be in the same position where this contractor also does a poor job. And there is the potential for that, so
mean,
it
I
makes
don't-
me a little nervous.
The difference, Erica, is that when he hires people to do stuff, it's like a kid off the street who's like literally shoveling dirt out of a wheelbarrow and it's like.
And he doesn't pay them.
It's not a professional establishment hiring people that are, you know what I'm saying, like that's not what's happening. So like the landscaper is like a random kid off the street who's got a wheelbarrow and like a thing, throwing stuff, that's what's happening.
Yeah, and just this final thing, I know you guys are frustrated, and we're in a really tough position, just no name calling.
Yeah,
I mean, that's very
sorry.
uncalled for, sir, you know, I know you're frustrated, but it looks bad on us that we're allowing this like
No, I understand.
maelstrom
It's-
around us, you know?
It's difficult to listen to him kind
Yeah.
of belittle
Yeah,
what we've been through, our families, for the past
But-
2 or 3 years.
yeah,
It's just hard, and I apologize.
yeah,
We just spent
I
almost
understand.
11 grand redoing our lawn, regrading, and we put an irrigation system in, and our well is only producing 2.5 gallons per minute. And I can't water my lawn.
And that's because of how bad of a
Yeah.
job he did. So we have actually come off the
That's
easiest, but they've spent tens of thousands of dollars fixing his work already. So we don't wanna have that all be with this driveway too. That's where
There's
our
no resource,
frustration
and there's
is.
nothing I can do, other than spend $4,000 to have my well fixed, which may not even work.
Right, or small claims court, like that's where we are.
The storage tank would
Yeah,
work too,
yeah.
but yeah, but it's extra money.
Anything else is, it's just a lot of money and not a lot of guarantee.
alright, well, it
Thank
sounds like
you.
we'll have all the information we need on the 22nd to make a
Okay,
decision.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thanks, thank you.
You're welcome, take care, guys.
Switch to adjourn.
Yeah,
Second.
well, somebody has.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, second.
All in favor?
Now Mark comes back, so.